now. He juggles the mark at the front. Ball to Springer, the magic man. He's done it again. Jake Springer, the everywhere man. He says the chance to get through. Bontempelli, simply the Bont. Sends it to Gord. Willie from 55. He will, he can, he does. He gave it to Dusty. Martin, goal. Tigers in front. At the final bell, it's a brand new flag. 57 years of torment eased and a curse lifted. Melbourne are premiers in 2021.
AFL Nation.
Welcome everybody to AFL Nation on such an important day, round 23 of the AFL season 2022, and what a day. We have Hawthorn and the Western Bulldogs at UTAS Stadium, and what a big day it is for the Western Bulldogs. It's a pretty easy scenario. They just have to win, and of course Collingwood and Carlton in front of 100,000 people at the MCG a little bit later on to determine who gets all of the action in September. Welcome to AFL Nation for Tyre Power, your matchday favourites for tyre safety and Macca's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. Jordan Canellis in co-commentary with me today. Looking forward to this.
Hello, Matt. I'm looking forward to this as well. What a day of football we've got. We've got 3 games today, and 4 of the 6 teams in action all have something to play for, and even Hawthorn and St Kilda will look to finish out their seasons in good fashion too. So there's a lot to unfold today. It's the final day of the home and away season, and every game has something on it, which is fantastic.
Now, I read in the paper today that the first line on page 78 of the Herald Sun is that Daisy Pearce is in uncharted territories, but you're not today because you're in the commentary box, which you're so comfortable with. How are you, Dave?
I haven't read that, so I'm going to go and have a quick squeeze at the paper. But no, very well. Looking forward to this one as well. The Western Bulldogs, of course, can give themselves an opportunity and possess that 8th spot on the ladder if they can manage to beat the Hawks, who, it must be said, look like they're planning for the future with the amount of debutants and young players they've got in the side at the moment, which I like, I must say. And they've got the chance to go and make Carlton supporters even more anxious than they are right now by squaring this one away.
It adds to the theatre of the day, doesn't it, if the Western Bulldogs go on to win, just to put a little bit more pressure on Collingwood and Carlton. There's so much to play for, and of course the Swannies later on AFL Nation are looking for a top 2 berth as well. They have to win by over 54 points to get that top 2 berth. So there's plenty to play for in this final day of AFL 2022 before we get into finals.
Absolutely. I mean, Sydney probably sit back and think they thought they'd done enough to square up the top 2 spot, but Melbourne were just dominant on Friday night, which edged them out. And now it's over to them. They've got to win and win big to get that all-important home qualifying final. But so much to look forward to in the footy today.
Pre-game show for Thirsty Camel Bottle Shops. Answer the Camel's call. Thirsty Camel Bottle Shops and Beaumont Tiles. $25,000 advertising giveaway. iCanWin.com.au. Our luggage partner for today is Samsonite. Unpack the world with Samsonite. Visit samsonite.com.au. Daisy's got plenty of travelling to do in the next 6 months, so she'll be packing the Samsonite. There's no doubt about that. When we take calls, it'll be for Star 21. 2021 Telstra Enterprise Partner of the Year. Both teams completing their warm-up for Ream. Ask your plumber to install a Ream steady, hot and strong. And Geordie, a couple of debutants for the Hawks. Ned Long and also Jack Saunders, and coming towards the end of the season, a good time to give the kids a go.
Absolutely, 2 rookie listed players for the Hawks. Ned Long was taken with pick 5 in the rookie draft last year. Big-bodied midfielder, so I know the Hawthorn fan base had high hopes about him, so he gets his debut. And then Jack Saunders, who is from Adelaide, who was recruited as a forward, but has played a bit of VFL in defence this season for the Hawks as well. So he might end up in the forward line, because Hawthorn don't have many tall forwards in the squad today. Just Jack Gunston sits up there, but no Jacob Kajitsky, no Mitch Lewis. So if they need a goal scorer, maybe Jack Saunders on debut can provide a couple.
Yeah, Kajitsky was an interesting omission, wasn't it, given the makeup of their side. I mean, the Western Bulldogs' defence isn't overly big, and they struggled to lock the ball in their forward half last week, the Hawks against Richmond. So maybe the opportunity to go a bit smaller and try and just tackle and pressure and try and lock it in.
Maybe we'll see James Sicily swung forward.
Well, he played a bit of mid last week, which was interesting, and in the end had to go back to try and curtail Tom Lynch, who was given plenty of time to James Blank and Denver Granger Barras to do their bit to defend him last week, and Sam Mitchell just let them go for their development, which was interesting. And it's been, I guess, in line with how he's coached this team all year, which I've admired. I remember when Alistair Clarkson was moved on and Sam Mitchell got the job last year, thinking, far out, it's a lot of pressure to take on filling the boots of Alistair Clarkson. But he's been great, Sam, in the way that he's been aware of where this team is at. He hasn't chased wins. He's freed them up and really backed in their kids, and he's in this for the long haul.
Do you think if he wasn't a favourite son at Hawthorn, that would have been more difficult?
Yeah, I think it helps.
Yeah.
It probably affords you a little bit more time if you've helped bring a couple of premiership cups into the club. But no, I think, as I said, just good awareness from the club as to where they're at, and not chasing wins, which will help them in the long run.
All right, so the Kubota cast, the weather report for Kubota. Together we are shaping and building Australia, and down in Tasmania I can report that it's windy. That's not really a surprise, around about the 14 degrees, but the sun is trying to peek through there at UTAS Stadium. Kubota shaping and building Australia. So unmissable moments for Drinkwise. Choose to Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you Drinkwise. We'll go around the panel, Geordie.
The final game of Ben McAvoy today, 242 games, or 242nd game today, and out. A great career for Ben McAvoy, and calling it a day in his career. Drafted in 2007, came to the Hawks in the 2014 trade period, so he's been there through the successful times, and he's helped usher in the new generation of young ruckman, Ned Reeves and Max Lynch, the youngsters on the list at the moment for the Hawks. But Ben McAvoy, great career, and the skipper bows out.
It's fascinating that the Hawks and the Bulldogs, the last 4 times they've met at UTAS, Hawthorn have been able to beat the Bulldogs. It is remarkable how that can happen.
Yeah, it has been a happy hunting ground for the Hawks overall. They like playing footy down there at Tasmania, and clearly the Dogs have struggled a bit. That's been in a successful period for the Bulldogs. So I'll be looking forward to this one. The Hawks, the opportunity to really put a nail in the coffin of the Bulldogs, who would be disappointed overall with how their season's played out. But for me, today my unmissable moment. I can't wait to watch Sam Darcy. He's been outstanding since coming into the Bulldogs side, playing across the back line, and 7 intercept marks across his first 2 games of AFL footy. That's right up there with the best in terms of what the best intercepting marking defenders take.
Yeah, you mentioned before how the Dogs' defence is undersized. Well, he adds size to this defence. He's huge. He's at 210 centimetres and still growing, apparently.
And so athletic.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's his what they need, isn't he? He's just a key defender. He's an intercept player at the moment. Do you reckon he can become a one-on-one defender?
Oh, I think all the best intercept defenders can play one-on-one as well. When you think of the best, Stephen May, Alir, when he's at his peak, I think they're all better when they're playing off someone and have that ability, because more and more opposition sides aren't just letting those interceptors or those good interceptors do as they please. Nowadays you're often faced with an opponent that's there to take away that marking ability. So if you can play one-on-one and hold your own one-on-one, it's really important.
So Ben McAvoy, aptly in his final game, his 252nd game, has won the toss. And the Hawks will be kicking to the right of your radio dial and having a look at the windsock direction. That'll be kicking with the wind. So that's no surprise in the breeze at Launceston. Cygnet powering the commentary team for the upcoming game. Stay charged with Cygnet. A ground report for climate and day can keep warm this winter. It looks like a pretty good deck there at UTAS Stadium. In fact, they say it's one of the better surfaces in the league. It is like carpet, UTAS Stadium.
Good grass growing conditions down there in Tasmania. They grow all the high quality stuff down there.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so final word from our experts. Buy My Stock. Got excess stock? Visit buymystock.com.au. So the Bulldogs need to win it, Daisy. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think they will win at the Bulldogs. They're the number one clearance team in the competition in terms of their differential, and the Hawks, they'd be almost down the other end of the ladder, I'd say, for clearance. It's an area of massive improvement required for them, so I think they'll just be too dominant out of the middle of the ground. One player that will be trying to stop that, though, Finn McGuinness, who's had some big jobs as a tagger this year for Hawthorn. You'd think he'd get another one today. It's just a matter of who, given the depth of the Western Bulldogs midfield.
Pre-game show for thirsty Camel Bottle Shops about to get underway. The opening bounce for Tyre Power. Tyre Power, tyre safety experts week in, week out. Jordan Canellis.
So our Super Sunday of football, the last day of the home and away season, is underway. In the middle, it's Lynch and English doing the ruck work. English gets the opening tap. O'Meara gets the first possession. Nash paddles it down, cut off by English. A booming kick inside 50 go the Dogs. It drops in front of Ugelhagen and bounces away. Dunkley pursues it, and then it's slapped out of his hands by Granger Barras and out for a boundary throw-in the right forward pocket. The Dogs with the first inside 50 entry.
Interesting player, Dunkley, at this time of year. Daisy not completely wrapped up with the Bulldogs yet. Of course, was heading towards Adelaide earlier in the year.
Boundary throw in at right half forwards. Knocked down to the front of the pack by the ruckman. McRae gets it in before the boundary line. Links up with Liberatore. Back to McRae. Left foot kick, a high one inside 50. Ugelhagen goes up one-handed. Brings it down for Bailey Smith. English comes in and roves it, but it's stolen off him by O'Meara. And a big pounding kick inside the in midfield. Almost bashed away by McAvoy, but the Dogs will get it back on the outer wing. Linking up McRae. And they've found some respite on the defensive side of wing.
Yes, through Cordy, and then that's a wobbly kick towards right half forward. No mark taken by Lynch, and then it was snaffled by Hardwick for Hawthorn. Threw it onto the left boot. But in the end, it's going to be repelled by the Bulldogs as they spread it wide. McRae with a bit of work to do up against the boundary line as they work it towards right half forward Gardner. So they're about to go inside 50 for another entry. Swag of players round the ball here. No mark taken. And it's going to be Hawthorn who hack it out. We'll scrap forward at right half forward for the Dogs. It's going to be Dale who did well in the end to shrug a tackle. Just bounced off his opponent, kicked it inside 50. And now the Hawks will clear once again. It's kick to kick at the moment on the outer side.
It's just pinging back and forth between the wing and half forward for the Western Bulldogs. They're on the wing at the moment. Dale gives it over to Richards. Hooks the left foot kick around the corner, back up to the right flank. Smith thought he had front position, and he has been given either the mark or the free kick. He's taken his kick now. Smith goes inside 50, kept it low to Ugelhagen, took a hand on the way through, ricochets away. Ugelhagen fights for it. Dunkley goes in as well. McRae had it slapped out of his hands. Mitchell to Lynch, and now the Hawks can repel off half back. Moore's folded back onto the flank, gets it for the Hawks and spreads it out towards right half forward. It'll bounce up in front of O'Meara. Cordy nips in first and spins around O'Meara. That was nimble from Cordy. And now the Dogs can spread the play to the broadcast wing. And sitting underneath it is Hunter, who takes the mark in front of the bench.
They'll be disappointed with that, the missed tackle there from O'Meara. They just needed to create a contest or a stoppage to buy a bit of time in their forward half, having done a lot of defending the Hawks.
Hunter goes short to Dunkley. Near side wing here at UTAS Stadium. We've been travelling about 2.5 minutes. Goes back inboard, almost on the AFL logo, to Hunter.
Those three
Richards.
kicks, the first clean possessions I think we've seen in the entire game.
Yeah, it's been quite frenetic, hasn't it? But now the Bulldogs can steady through. Richards sends it long towards the square. No mark, Waitman. Bruce is claiming it. But the umpire crosses himself and says you didn't get enough of it.
I think Waitman had first touch on that.
Waitman going with the long sleeves. Tim English in the ruck. Comes out. Waitman just hoiks it out of the ruck work. And that ball just bobbles out. Hunter went in hard over the top of the debutant Long. And then a standing tackle with Smith. And also Liberatore making sure that ball is wrapped up. A little bit of niggle in that passage of play. And Jai Newcomb not quite happy with the attentions of Bailey Smith as the umpire gets on with it and throws it up in the air. Good juggling mark outside 50 taken by Dale. So Dale too far out to score, and that's a wobbly low trajectory kick and chopped off by Lynch.
So the Hawks will try and spread out of defence. Lynch's kick not much better either. It'll fall to the knees of Nash playing his 50th game today. The Dogs will handball back inside 50, but Sicily slugs it away. Long kick to the outer side. Gunston leaps up in front of Cordy and holds the chest mark.
Really important mark there, relieving mark.
He's on the wing. He rifles the kick inside 50, keeps low, skittles the feet of Moore, who chases after it. He's slung to the ground by Hunter. Very agricultural from Hunter. Moore goes spinning away. The ball goes spinning to the pocket. Richards is there. McAvoy's putting pressure on Hunter. The Dogs are in their own goal square. Hunter was clean enough. Siphons out the handball, and the Dogs find Bontempelli at left half back, and they're out of defensive 50. Bontempelli will play on with no one on the mark. Takes a bounce. Angles a left foot kick inside up the wing. Dunkley collects it on the bounce, gives it over to Ugle-Hagan, dabs it inside 50, sees the one-on-one. Norton's there, beats blank, recovers, regathers, and shoots and scores from the goal square. Aaron Norton gets the opening goal of the game. The Dogs with the start they wanted. The Dogs 1 straight 6, Hawthorn yet to score. For Robot Building Supplies, Robot's got it.
A little thing, but just Bontempelli's ability to play on and take the ground afforded to him when he took the mark. It meant that he got past the player on the mark. It was Granger Barras, who was a bit slow to react to the play on call. But it just advanced the ball that 15 metres extra forward on a blowy day where it's hard to execute skills and get good penetration on the kick. It can be hard to break through defensive zones and where the defenders are set up, but that was why they were able to get that ball out the back. The entire Hawthorn defence sets up in reference to the player on the mark and thinking where Bontempelli's going to take that kick from, so getting past by a good 20 metres in the end meant that they were all out of position.
Norton and Sicily, a little interesting battle to watch throughout the afternoon. Back in the middle, and the young man long wrapped up, umpire will ball it up. So secondary bounce, Hawks will hack it towards centre half forwards. No mark taken by Moore. Had plenty of pressure. Gardner, little handball, and they're going to work it out of centre half back here, the Dogs. So Bontempelli has some good run, and the mark taken by Vandermeer, near side wing.
It was a bit of a theme last week for the Hawks, but just coming out of their forward 50 way too easy. They haven't been able to retain any possession or time in there.
Vandermeer, no mark taken by Smith. Norton was able to grab it. Little handball to Smith, who directs it inside 50, slapped away from Waitman, came back out offhand. Darcy kicks it inside 50. It was a wobbly kick though. Came out to Williams outside 50, sends it inside 50 towards the top of the square. Just popped up. Norton was punched away from him. Nash from Hawthorn just dumps it out of defence in the end, and English can send it back in. Goes short. Was it the required distance? It was, and it's left half forward. It's Jack McRae with it.
So McRae might just be beyond his range. He's peering in towards the goal square. He'll sit it up next to the square, looking for Norton. Went up with his left hand. Nash at the fall of the footy. Spills out a handball backwards to Granger Barras. Handballing into his own goal square for Sicily, who has to round an opponent. Skids it along the ground. O'Meara slaps it sideways towards Scrimshaw. Now the Dogs players come in. Scrimshaw gives it back to O'Meara. Pokes a kick out. The Hawks yet haven't left defensive 50, and they won't as Richards cuts it off. Bontempelli at centre half forward. Swings around. Strikes a left foot kick and gets the Dogs seconds. The Hawks just not convincing enough in their rebounding, and the Dogs made them pay. Bontempelli strikes from 45. The Dogs 2 straight 12. Hawthorn yet to score. AFL Nation for Tyre Power. Tyre safety experts week in, week out.
Inside 50's now 10-2 the Bulldogs' way. And any time Hawthorn's tried to exit with that long dump kick, the Dogs have been able to intercept. So on that occasion, you could see a reluctance to want to just go long. They were trying to force a shorter kick, lower their eyes, and try and find another way to exit their defensive 50, but it cost them in the end. Couldn't execute the skills. A couple of missed kicks, and Bontempelli will punish you if you leave the door ajar like that.
2 straight goals. Bulldogs, Hawthorn yet to score. 13:35 left on the Makita clock. This first term for Tyre Power, Tyre safety experts week in, week out. Free kick found in the middle, and the Dogs will be able to push forward through Dunkley. He's going to go short to English, still inside the centre square. So English looking to load it up long, and does so. Long and strong to the top of the square. Plenty of Bulldogs there. They fly. Did the Pond give away a free kick on Day? Granger Barras gets the free kick in back play. So in the back pocket, he goes across the face of goal and finds Sicily. And they work it around where Moore has it at left half back, and they're going to go round the horseshoe. And Hardwick has it in the goal square. Centering kick had to be good and was found blank. Then Blank chips it up in the air, and he found Morrison at right half back, then to Sicily. So a bit of keepings off from the Hawks at the moment. Ball kicked into the middle and straight into the path of Richards. Then his handball, Dunkley couldn't get quite decent purchase on it, but they're able to push forward now through English in the middle of the ground.
English has it in the centre square. The Dogs will go back inside 50 with this kick. A long one right down the middle. Ugelhagen jumped early. Blank mishandled it. Ball on the ground. Vandermeer foraging after it.
So they're trying to maintain possession on the way out of defence now, Hawthorn, and then Sicily looked to pull the trigger into the corridor, but the Bulldogs just all over them defensively at the moment.
Ball thrown up inside 50. Newcomb's there first. Entangled with Bontempelli. Ball spills free. Long puts himself over the footy. He's not possessed the ball. It's been pinned to his body, however, and the umpire realises that. Just a ball up. Hawthorn scoreless. The Dogs 2 straight kicks. Norton and Bontempelli the goal scorers. Thrown up again inside 50. Nash, a centering kick to centre half back. Might get the Hawks out here. Howe, handballs over to McDonald. Back to Howe. The Hawks are at left half back, being pressed up. Howe squares it to Moore at centre half back. Indecisive. He'll chip it short and to his left. Sicily's taken the mark, and the Hawks will spread it wide to the outer wing of UTAS Stadium here in Launceston. Not willing to bite off a big advancing kick yet, the Hawks. Just manoeuvring it around the halfway line. Now Sicily does. A long booming kick inside 50. In the hole was Bruce. Couldn't take the mark. Richards came in to mop up. He spilt it. Gunston. Whistle's gone. And it might be for holding the footy on Richards, or has it just gone out of play?
Holding the ball, I thought. Was a bit... Yeah, yes. Free kick to Howe. Yeah, that possession style, it worked for the Giants for the most part last week against the Bulldogs because they play a bit of a zone defence. The Dogs, if they're not right on their game, holes do open up if you're good enough to kick your way through. 165 marks to the Giants last week was the most in any game this season.
Daniel Howe playing just game number 9 of the season. Scored once back in round 13. He'll open up the angle by running inside. Swings it into the goal square. Coming back with the wind. Stops on the goal line. No goal scored. No score at all, in fact, for the Hawks. Rourke Smith came away with it, and the Dogs can repel out of defence.
Yes, through Smith. Loose handball for Hunter over and out.
So again there, the ball landed almost on their goal line, Hawthorn, but if not for a handball error from the Dogs, they would have been rebounding out pretty easily. Just got to get a bit more forward pressure on that ground ball when it does get there in their forward 50.
Right half forward for the Hawks, scrounging for it. Moore can't quite pick it up. Treloar on hands and knees. Over the top is Ward for Hawthorn. Also McAvoy. Last game of football today wrapped up by Dunkley. Umpire will have it. So gets on with it quickly, and the Bulldogs down the line they go, and Sicily chopping off that mark in front of Norton, and then goes backwards as they're going to go around the horseshoe again. Hardwick. Around they go. So it's Howe at left half forward, brings it back inside defensive 50. Hardwick. Comes near side wing this time. Granger Barris goes short up against the boundary line. Here is Ned Long, the debutant, the 19-year-old.
Good kick.
Good kick indeed. Finds Ward right on the AFL logo and then goes into the middle of the ground. So they're starting to build something here, the Hawks. Bang inside 50 they go. No mark taken. And then it was Richards at the fall of the ball. Scrounges a kick out. Smith has to do some work here for the Bulldogs. He's under heavy pressure. Vandermeer goes in. Morrison was clever. And then slapped it inboard again. Smith back to Richards. Bulldogs out of trouble.
They'll advance it to the wing. Blank competes with Norton in the air. Crumming was Hardwick. Handballing backwards to Sicily. Took his eye off the footy, then recovers. Back to Hardwick on the outer wing. Handballing forwards. Morrison chips it over the top. To a 2-on-1 in favour of the Dogs. Moore cut the contest in half. Bruce came charging through. Giray takes it away from him. Handballing into the centre square. It's picked up by Day. And now Scrimshaw and slides it across with a short ball to Long, who runs the AFL logo, drives it inside 50 for the Hawks. There's only one target there in Gunston. It spills out the back. Saunders is there. His first touch of the footy. Handballs inside to McAvoy. Ben McAvoy in his final game of football scores from the goal square in his last game, assisted by the first gamer, Jack Saunders. And Hawthorn get their first goal of the day. The Hawks 1 straight 6, the Dogs 2 straight 12.
That 2-minute period was about as dangerous as the Hawks have looked all day. Started way back with Ned Long with the great kick into the middle of the ground. And then they were able to lock it in their forward half with some better pressure, bit of intercept ability, and then the other debutant, Saunders, shrugged the tackle of Josh Bruce, was strong, didn't panic. And a good handball back to the outgoing skipper, Ben McAvoy. Great goal.
The Dogs with a 1-goal lead on the scoreboard for Robot Building Supplies. Robot's got it. Daisy Pearce is our expert for buymystock.com.au.
Interesting, the two different styles. Sorry, Maddie. Hawthorn trying to chip kick their way through these blustery conditions. The Dogs are handballing their way through. They've had more handballs than kicks.
English, Smith bobbled it, and then Dunkley hoiks it inside 50 as the Bulldogs go forward. Liberatore out wide to Smith on the edge of the centre square. Darts one inside 50. No mark taken. Ugelhagen had to really stretch, almost did himself some damage, and then Hardwick with a clearing kick. Newcomb running for it, was able to gather. That was really clever in front of Hunter, who put on a lot of pressure. Kick down the line. Oh, it's going to go out of bounds, isn't it? Or can Lynch keep it in? The big fellow, he does. He leaps towards it. Runs inside 50. Centering kick from Lynch. Gunston takes the mark on the chest. Did well, the big man.
Did he ever? Really good gather. I just loved how he persisted as well. A lot of people might have put the handbrake on thinking that ball was going to go out of bounds, but he chased it down. Did get the lucky little bobble. But it was a good kick to get out the back to Gunston.
Round the corner, 10 metres out, Gunston scores a level at UTAS. For Robot Building Supplies, it's 2 goals apiece.
Critical contest win by Jai Newcomb as well at half-back. Did really well. The underground kick was not intentional, but it worked because Lynch was on Sam Darcy and it clean bowled them both, but Lynch was first back onto it. But a great kick. Smart from Gunston as well, just to sit back in the space on the fat side of the ground.
So 2 goals apiece for Robot Building Supplies. Robots got it. It's the first quarter for Tyre Power, tyre safety experts, week in, week out. It's been an entertaining game.
Exhale.
At Utah Stadium, AFL Nation for Maccas. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Maccas today. Lynch back in the middle doing the ruck work. English guides it down to Bailey Smith, who drives it inside 50. Leaping out, lurching at the footy was Bruce, who knocked over a Hawthorn player unfairly. The Hawks take the advantage. Scrimshaw finds Ward on the outer side. He's got McGuinness as a short option. He's got a couple of players breaking in the corridor if he wants, but he'll go down the wing instead. Ward, a high kick to left half forward. Gardner competes through the air, knocks it down looking for Richards. Bruce was there for the Hawks, but Richards recovers. Finds Dunkley across half back. His handball picked off by Lynch. The Hawks are back in here through Bruce. Gives it over to Morrison. Has a snapping shot from right down the middle, and he's put it through. Harry Morrison puts the Hawks in front for the first time today. The Hawks 3 straight 18, the Dogs 2 straight 12, and the Hawks have scored 3 in a row.
Looking much better, the Hawks. Just looking stronger over the ball. They're in the hunt a bit more, getting pressure on. And they've started holding up a bit better defensively as well. Rather than having to rush kick, dump kick out of their defensive 50, they're finding a way to get out with a bit more control, which they did then.
And helped set up by the work of Luke Bruce as well, who competed out on the flank to break the contest in half and then got back involved in the build-up to that and provided the assists.
3 straight goals Hawthorn, 2 straight goals the Bulldogs. 6:48 to go in this first term for Robot Building Supplies. Umpire heaves it into the ground. English and Lynch doing some volleyball work, and then it was McRae who just got boot to ball. Howe under pressure out there, and also Smith just making sure that the ball goes over the boundary line out of side.
Some of the major ball winners, Richards and Dunkley for the Dogs, leading with 11 and 9. Sicily and Blake Hardwick with 8 apiece.
So shallow throw in. Lynch won the tap only as far as Liberatore. Then Daniel just throws it on the boot. Smith, it overruns him. Ugle-Hagan trapped it really well. And then centering ball for Dunkley, who takes the mark 35 metres out directly in front.
Clever kick. Just off the line. Wasn't really intended for someone in particular. It just hit the space. And Dunkley was there, read it well.
So Dunkley, left of your radio dial, against the wind here. This is to get the scores on an even keel again. Dunkley flirts with the left goal post and he's hooked it. In fact, he's missed the lot. Can you believe it? And Day has been able to pick it up on the goal line and kick it outside 50 with a dump kick, and then Gardner slaps it out, over and out, ahead of McDonald.
Just sat up in that wind, didn't it? It didn't hit it sweetly, but I think he would have cleared the line comfortably from there.
Well, no score there for the Dogs. Still 3 goals, plays 2 goals. Hawthorn up by 6 points. Boundary throw in, Treloar over to Daniel. Now Rourke Smith fakes the first kick, then tries to run around Connor Nash, but he's been held up. Just gets it free at the last. Daniel, his kick was smothered, and then Nash follows up with a good tackle around the hips of McRae and pushes him out of play.
They've come alive, the Hawks, haven't they? They were a little bit reactive in that first 5 minutes, and the Dogs were just carving them up, doing all the playmaking, but the Hawks are well back into this now.
Boundary throw in, left half forward for the Dogs. McAvoy breaks even with English and then takes possession. McAvoy held up, ball up. We've played 22 minutes in this match now. In the first quarter, on the clock for Makita, rule the outdoors, so into red time in this first term. Daniel, the clearing kick inside 50. Norton comes charging from 3 deep, but Sicily had front position for the Hawks.
That's a great mark. Plenty of bodies there. He knew he had Norton closing down on him from behind, but just to get front position and then hold on to that one long enough.
Ward pokes it sideways. Day chisels it just over the top of Bruce and then over to Mitchell. And he's found McDonald at left half back. He's got a runner to his outside in Scrimshaw. Fires the handball up the wing. It rolls on through and the Hawks have some run. Now Saunders can run the boundary. He's got Big Sam Darcy ahead of him. Handballs it to himself, Saunders, and gets around Darcy. Then the right foot kick inside 50, looking for a target. English had hands to it. Cordy gets there, and now Bailey Smith in the back pocket, and the Dogs can rebound away out to the wing on the outer side.
Goes down the line to the outer side. Mitchell has to control it. Did it pretty well in the end. Howe then fires a handball inboard as it's sent to Long, and now they push forward towards centre half forward through McDonald. Well, that was not by design, surely. He just threw the boot at the ball, and O'Meara's taken the mark 45 metres out.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think they got a bit lucky there. He ran past for the handball receive. Didn't see the pressure coming, but it was good enough once Bailey Dale did get the tackle on him, McDonald, to just get it to boot, and O'Meara right spot, right time.
So, having the Hawks come hard in the second part of this first term, O'Meara directly in front, 48 metres out. It's going to swing around, the wind's caught it, and misses to the left. That was a violent swing there. So that breeze really did get hold of that football. 3-1-19 Hawthorn, 2 straight goals, the Dogs for Robot.
So it's affecting both ends. That one started at the right goalpost and missed left.
Daniel with the kicking in for the Dogs. Swings it out to Bailey Williams at left half back. Williams called to play on. He'll poke it down the line to Richards. Standing a few metres inside from the boundary. Broadcast wing. Will hit it long down the line. English comes in, splits the pack in half. Bruce was there as well. Getting there first for the Hawks was Granger Barras.
Been one of the positives for the Bulldogs this year. Ed Richards establishing himself down as a defender. He's got good dash. Struggled to get on the park last year with injuries and then not selected late when the team was settled, but he's looking very good down back.
From the stoppage on the wing, Williams clearance goes inside 50, but Scrimshaw picks it up. Newcombe onto Morrison, and now the Hawks can dash out of defence with a kick spread to the outer side, but Darcy leapt up well, intercepted it, knocks it down for Hunter. His left foot kick floats out to right half forward. Ugelhagen was there with Norton. They both missed it. Day picks it up for the Hawks. Hands off inside to Blank. Flings it up the line to Saunders. Nash now, all via hand here, the Hawks. They're working in tight confines as the Dogs close them down. Bruce has it, picks it up in front of Duray, knocks it sideways, looking for Saunders, who wraps himself around Hunter. Still the ball moves on. The Dogs keep possession. Now they've got some space with McRae. Left foot kick inside 50, tied up on the line, looking for Bailey Smith, who was trying to tiptoe the boundary and paddle it inside, but the ball drifted out. And then Smith and Hardwick, a few hard nuts, go at each other.
Sam Darcy with a couple of involvements there. Look how long his limbs are. I mean, it's a bit like trying to pass a big giant at the net, trying to get past him as he patrols across half-back.
Trelaw throws it on the boot towards the square. Nothing doing at the moment. Bontempelli came charging through, trying to get boot the ball. Hardwick picked it up. Clearing kick to O'Meara. The Hawks did well in the end. And then leaving defensive 50 to the near side. Mark taken by Moore. Great kick, great lead. So Moore progresses it now towards right half forward, where Bruce has the football. A minute and a half left in this first term. Bruce at the back. No mark taken. And here is Darcy with that clearing kick, but it's not clearing at all. He's kicked it straight down the throat of Nash, who then centres the ball, and Mitchell's taken the mark. So under pressure there, the Dogs, and that's what pressure does.
Well, the reason they were able to move the ball so quickly and put that Bulldogs backline under pressure was the O'Meara kick coming out of defence. Had about a 2-metre radius to work with to hit it, and he did.
Touch of the Matty Lloyds there. Mitchell just picked up a little bit of grass. Tried to see where the wind was going. This is going to go right to left, I reckon. So he puts it onto the left, and then it's a ugly-looking mongrel punt that didn't make the distance. But Gunston's there. Snap round the body. Gunston kicks the goal. That's his second. Lacks a fortune in the end. And the Hawks with a quick-fire start, 4-1-25 to the Dogs. 2 straight goals with 35 seconds left. The kick was an absolute shocker, Daisy, but it was 3 against 1. Gunston grabbing the football and had the presence of mind to snap it round the body.
So clearly the tuft of grass didn't tell him much.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably blades going everywhere as he threw it. It was a mung kick, but just made the most of it, the Hawks. Bulldogs that time a little bit flat-footed when that ball came to ground. Gunston given more time and space than you'd expect. 5 metres out from goal. Great finish.
Good finish from Jack Gunston, a host plus, that's a plus goal of the game contender. The Hawks 4-1-25, the Dogs 2 straight 12. AFL Nation for tyre power, tyre safety experts week in, week out. The Dogs with the clearance, a short ball to centre half forward. Bontempelli missed it. Hardwick read it best. Hands off to Granger Barras. Sicily runs into a dead end but gets a handball away. Intercepted by McRae. Scuffs it inside 50. Ugelhagen around the body. Swings it and it just shaves the inside of the post. The right goal post just got in the way of that kick from Ugelhagen.
Gee, that's class. His ability to pick that up, 197 centimetre player, get down at ground level as quickly as he did, and then so quick hand to foot.
So Sicily just barrels it out of defensive 50 to finish the first quarter. So a good start to the Hawks. They've won the last 4 encounters at this ground against the Western Bulldogs. They'll be happy with that. So at quarter time, Hawthorn 4-1-25 with 2 to Gunston, 1 to Ben McAvoy and 1 to Harry Morrison. Western Bulldogs 2-1-13 with goals to Aaron Norton and Marcus Bontempelli. 4-1-25 Hawthorn, 2-1-13 Western Bulldogs, and a big day on AFL Nation.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Robot Building Supplies. Robots got it.
Are you self-employed and looking for a home or commercial loan? Talk to RedZ, loan specialists for the self-employed. They review each loan individually to meet your needs. Visit redz.com. Conditions apply. RedZ Lending Solutions Proprietary Limited, Australian Credit Licence 311128.
Explore Karajini National Park on this new fun Go West tour. With experienced guides, you'll discover the ancient gorges and spectacular scenery. Travel on 4x4 buses into the four corners of the national park and leave your troubles behind at camp. If you're flying into the Pilbara, you can book airport transport services to Karajini as well. We have you covered with safe, fun and memorable experiences in the Karajini National Park with Go West Tours. Visit gowesttours.com.au. NHP are your local trusted #1 choice for everything a Sparky needs. NHP electrical products are available from recognised electrical wholesale stockists with service-ready levels of key products. With NHP's range of globally sourced best-in-class products, you can think global, trust local. When you buy NHP, you're buying 100% Australian-owned and supporting local Aussie jobs. You can find NHP electrical products at your local recognised electrical wholesaler stockist or nhp.com.au.
Sometimes needing new tyres can catch us by surprise. That's why Tyre Power gives you the power of Zip Pay and Zip Money. It means you can get what you need now, get back on the road safely and pay for it later, taking advantage of the interest-free periods. So if you need new tyres or mechanical repairs, don't wait till it gets worse. Get them now with Zip Pay or Zip Money at Tyre Power. No fuss, no wait, no worries. Terms and conditions apply. So visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner-operator.
Looking for a better value 5G mobile plan? Mate! Get the Soulmates 5G plan with 60 gig of data, 500 gigabyte data bank, and a Tidal Hi-Fi music subscription of just $40 per month. That's right, 5G mobile for just $40 per month. Mate! Why wait? Make the switch to Mate. Visit letsbemates.com.au or search Mate online.
Okay, my battery's nearly gone. Am I picking up the kids from training or you are?
Yeah, can you get them for 5?
Couldn't hear you. Can you say that again? My battery's nearly... flat.
Without charge on your phone, nomophobia kicks in. No mobile phone phobia. You can beat it with a Signet Power Bank. With a Signet Power Bank, there's no more running out of charge when you need it most.
Yeah, okay, great. I'll be there at 5 to get the kids.
Aussie owned, Aussie designed. Power your life with a Signet Power Bank. Signet.com.
Oh, a good mark to Wilson. He plays on at full pace and kicks a beauty to Thomas. Thomas gives off to Harris. Harris closes in on 50, but wait, he's tackled by Smith. Or is it Williams? Williams scrabbles for the ball, kicks it to a guy in blue, who kicks it to some other guy in blue. Now some tall bloke has the ball. He kicks it to an even taller bloke. Kick, handball, kick.
Don't miss the best bits. You won't miss a moment if you drink Wise. Proudly brought to you by Drink Wise.
G'day, it's Gerard Healy and Kane Corns. We're all creatures of habit, and if you've made it a habit to sleep on worn-out pillows, time to sleep on a Spinal Ease.
It aligns the head, neck and spine for comfort and support.
Since I got a Spinal Ease pillow, no more annoying headaches. I absolutely love it.
The Spinal Ease pillow will change the way you sleep and wake forever.
Order your Spinal Ease pillow now and get free delivery. Visit spinaleze.com.au. That's spinaleze.com.au. It'll change the way you sleep forever.
They say you can't beat a classic. And with 100% Aussie Angus, fresh lettuce, onion and juicy tomato, Macca's Classic Angus proves them 100% right. Available after 10:30am.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Dunkley collects it on the bounce, gives it over to Ugle-Hagan, dabs it inside 50, sees the one-on-one. Norton's there, beats Blake, recovers, regathers and shoots and scores from the goal square. Aaron Norton gets the opening goal of the game. Bontempelli at centre half forward. Swings around, strikes a left foot kick and gets the Dogs seconds. It spills out the back. Saunders is there. His first touch of the footy. Handballs inside to McAvoy. Ben McAvoy in his final game of football scores from the goal square.
Round the corner, 10 metres out, Gunston scores a level at UTAS. Ugly looking mongrel pup that didn't make the distance, but Gunston's there. Snap round the body, Gunston kicks the goal.
Macca's I'm Loving It moments. Catch a quarter pounder range meal at Macca's today.
Excellent start for the Hawks, 4-1-25 at quarter time. Western Bulldogs 2-1-13 with Jack Gunston with the 2 goals to date, Ben McAvoy and Harry Morrison. What have we seen so far, Daisy Pearce?
Well, the Bulldogs have been dominant from clearance, as they often are. 12-3 clearances, 6-zip centre bounce, but Hawthorn have been good enough to be able to defend them and turn it over. They haven't scored from clearance yet, and that's where Hawthorn's doing their damage. 4 goals from turnover, just building the ball up, chipping it around, controlling possession until they get a good look inside 50, where there has been lots of space inside their forward 50.
Free kick to Liberatore in the middle of the ground. Jordan Canellis.
McRae has it, drives it right down the middle, inside 50 for the Western Bulldogs. Flies past English. Scrimshaw gathers. Lynch, then to Blank, and a spreading kick out to Sicily, who takes the mark at left half back.
Much like the first, Dogs win the centre clearance, but Hawthorn able to defend and mop it up.
Sicily's kick goes down the line. Saunders takes the mark on defensive wing.
They're getting lots of bodies in there, and that's why they're going slow like this as well, just to allow players to then get forward.
Wheels around onto the right boot. Saunders floats it up towards half forward. McAvoy knocks it down to Newcomb. Sees an open man inside 50. Over the shoulder of Gunston. He runs into the pocket, slaps it back in the field of play. Colliding into the goalpost was Duray. McDonald up on the boundary line keeps it in, and it's gone out of play. Around the grounds for Kangan Institute, 1-3 TAFE. Breaking news out of Essendon is that they have sacked their coach Ben Rutten. Essendon Football Club's board of directors has today made the decision to part ways with senior coach Ben Rutten, effective immediately. That's the statement that was released a few minutes ago.
Forward pocket for the Hawks. It was Bontempelli, got it to Treloar, and as he was being grabbed, he's just hoiked it towards the middle of the ground where Lynch has taken the mark for Hawthorn. So they can reload. Goes short to Sicily in the middle of UTAS. So Sicily, metres gained 716 last week. Goes long to a 3-on-3, but Tim English read it beautifully and takes a good mark. So English in the back pocket for the Bulldogs. He's going to spread it to the outer side of the ground through Daniel. Then Daniel's kick had to be accurate, and it was. Found Cordy, and they send it down the line, the Dogs, and a good mark taken by Norton, hard up against the fence in the end. So Aaron Norton, who's kicked the 1 goal already in this match, is going to go centering kick back into the middle of the ground. Cordy's butted up. Almost to centre, half forward. Darts one inside 50. Ugelhagen juggled it. Was able to gather, though, with absolute skill. And then recovers. They work it around to Daniel. Centre, half forward. Little darting kick in the air and chopped off by Nash.
Nash did well, read it well. Ugelhagen having a bit of an almost day so far. Showed some flashes of brilliance, but not quite able to nail it.
Squared to centre half back. Wards right down the middle to McAvoy. He's taken a good mark overhead. Onto McDonald. They've got numbers out the back here, the Hawks. McDonald finds more. Top of the goal square, converts. End to end from the Hawks, right down the corridor. From centre half back, the adventurous kick from Josh Ward opened up the front of the field, and it was all easy from there. Dylan Moore finishes the move.
Yeah, concerning with how long that Josh Ward kick sat in the air. Ben McAvoy standing almost in the centre circle. There should have been a Bulldogs defender able to get back onto that and at least contest that mark, but uncontested from there. You almost guaranteed to score from that position. Pretty concerning for the Bulldogs as well. As soon as the ball kind of leaves the immediate area, if it bursts through the pressure they're able to apply there, there's not much beyond that.
Hawthorn
a lot of space for Hawthorn when they have been able to get it inside 50 since about the midway point of that first quarter.
Scored 5 goals in a row, the Hawks, and they're up by 18 points for Athena Home Loans.
So English and Lynch. Lynch narrowly won it. Howe has to scramble it forward to Ward, who just put shooter Sherrin. It was a real up and under.
Nearly caught his own kick.
He almost did. He almost butted up and got underneath of it. O'Meara then just somehow got a little bit of boot to ball, but Bontempelli was able to find some space, did it really well. And then further down the line, Dunkley, and now Vandermeer kicks inside 50. Out of the position was Norton in the end and cut off by Scrimshaw. They go across the face, Granger Barris, and they work it round defensive 50, and Nash, the man with the tash, has got the ball. So it's Hawthorn 5-1-31, Bulldogs 2-1-13. 16 and a half to go in this second term as the kick outside 50 has landed in the hands of Vandermeer for the Bulldogs, so they can push forward again through Treloar as they just darted around. And Dunkley goes backwards. They're just massaging the ball around the 50. Bontempelli, 51 metres, sizes them up. Wynn catches it, misses to the left. Hawthorn 5-1-31. Western Bulldogs 2-2-14. 16 to go on the Athena Home Loans and Makita Rule the Outdoors clock. Second term, Geordie.
The Dogs scored the first two goals of the game, looking good at the blocks, and then the Hawks have put the foot down since then. The Dogs have to win this game to keep themselves in contention for a top 8 spot, with Carlton and Collingwood set to get underway at 20 minutes past 3 Eastern Standard Time around the grounds for Kangan Institute. 1-3 TAFE. Down the line go the Hawks on the outer wing, and batted out of play by Duray. Boundary throw in.
Just lacking a bit of flow and connection, the Dogs, when they kick inside 50. Already 2 of their kicks inside 50 intercept marked by Hawthorn players in this quarter, and that's allowing Hawthorn to exit and control the ball really easily.
Hawthorn 5-1-31, the Dogs 2-2-14. It's a 17-point lead for the Hawks. It's on the outer wing. Mitchell caught up in the traffic. Gets a handball away. Dunkley cuts it off, though, along the ground. The Dogs go inside 50 through left half forward. Into the pocket it drops. Off hands. Ugle-Hagan pursues it. Sicily got there first. Ugle-Hagan wraps him up. And together they hit the deck. The ball up in the forward pocket. About 30, 35 metres out for the Western Bulldogs. A few metres in from the boundary. Thrown up. Norton does the ruck work. Dunkley's there to pursue it, then runs into a wall of 3 Hawthorn tacklers and brought to ground for another stoppage.
Got to give credit to Hawthorn, though, for the way they're defending. They're running really hard defensively, getting a lot of bodies back there, so there's not a lot of space.
Another ball up in the left forward pocket. McAvoy tips it down. It's making a bit of ground backwards. Treloar flings out a handball, looking for Vandermeer. Cutting it off, though, the Hawks get defensive numbers piling in at the footy. They've willed it out of defence here, the Hawks. Vandermeer's pushed it away from his own 50 and out to the boundary. And it will be thrown in at left half forward, 55 metres out for the Western Bulldogs, who trail by 17.
Certainly, Duray in the thick of it, of course, against his old club. Played 9 seasons with Hawthorn. 31-14. Throw in, English at the back, bats it forward, and then Bontempelli with a big slap inside 50. Cut off there by McGuinness, and then it was Howe, Mitchell, Blank, and in the end, was the ball out of play, or there's been a free kick found? Free kick to the Hawks for high contact. (5-1-31) Hawthorn, 2-2-14 Western Bulldogs. Mitchell has the ball at half back. They're going to go round the loop here, and then the kick was too hot for Granger Barris inside defensive 50, so the Dogs are going to get a free kick here. So the Doggies through Norton against the boundary line, acute angle 30 metres out, maybe even a little bit less. This is tricky, runs inside the field of play. Oh, it's a terrific snap. It's a wobbly one, but it does the job. A classy finish for Norton. He's kicked 2. Hawthorn 5-1-31. Western Bulldogs 3-2-20. 14:26 left on the Makita Rule the Outdoors clock. Really good finish, Daisy.
It was. Again, didn't hit it perfectly, but it was good enough to send it through. A lot of players struggling to kick the ball well at that end of the ground, but Norton did enough. Now that there for the Hawks is the danger of the game style they're playing, where you try and find marks and chip kick the ball out of defence, is that you walk a fine line. A skill error will hurt you. So it's been high reward for them, but there's the risk. Particularly on a blowy day like today, it doesn't take much to miss one by a fraction.
AFL Nation this afternoon for Tyre Power, tyre safety experts week in, week out. If you're just catching up or just tuning in, the news from quarter time at the Essendon Football Club is they have sacked their coach Ben Rutten, so he is out the door. The Western Bulldogs get the centre clearance. Bailey Smith feeds it on to Adam Treloar, who lets launch from 50, and he scores. bounces on the goal line and through, and the Dogs are back within a goal.
Centre clearance is now 8-1 Bulldogs way. And that one, a classy goal for Treloar. Kicked it from outside 50, bounced on the goal line. So is this sustainable for the Hawks to keep bleeding clearances the way they are? The Bulldogs can increase their polish and do a bit more damage like Treloar did, then their lead will quickly be gobbled up, I'd say.
So the Dogs have scored 2 goals in a row, and Adam Treloar letting loose from just outside the 50 for his first goal of the day, and that'll go down as a goal of the game contender for Host Plus. That's a plus.
5-1-31 Hawthorn, 4-2-26 Western Bulldogs, 14 left on the clock. Second term for Maccas. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Maccas today. Back in the middle, English flew early. They negate each other. McRae with the tackle on Mitchell. Umpire will ball it up. So breezy conditions here at UTAS, overcast conditions. McAvoy won the tap, spilled towards Morrison. Treloar went over the top and in his back and got the free kick. Harry Morrison, who's kicked a goal already today. So in the middle of the ground, just a bit hesitant, looking for options, going to spread it pretty wide towards right half forward. Swag of players here. No mark taken. Punch off the front of the pack to Long. Treloar affects the tackle with Dunkley, and the umpire will ball it up just inside the centre square. So, all thrown up. Mitchell tries to scrounge a kick forward. On hands and knees, Treloar spilled out towards Newcombe. Bontempelli applies the pressure. It's pretty scrappy stuff at the moment. Came out towards Vandermeer. Dunkley with a little handball towards Treloar, who was taken in a tackle by Morrison and found to be holding it. So Morrison, inside the centre square, can load up Long if he likes. He decides to spread wide. Goes to Hardwick, and then Hardwick darts it in towards Newcombe, who takes the mark 50 metres out. Can the young man back himself here? He's kicked 9 in his career so far, but he looks for Gunston and found him. So Gunston, who's kicked 2, can go back directly in front, 45 metres out.
Smart play there from the Hawks. Just lowered the eyes to find Newcombe, and he did the same thing to Gunston. Looks like Newcombe's been running with Bontempelli as much as he can at stoppage.
So he's kicking to the left of your radio dial. The wind should be right to left with what we've seen. Now it's the other way around, left to right. What about that? It was the most violent swing you've ever seen. He aimed it outside the left goal post, and he snuck it in just inside the right goal post.
That was wild.
That is something else. You don't see that very often. 6-1-37 Hawthorn, 4-2-26 Western Bulldogs. You'd like Jack Gunston to read some greens playing Huntingdale, wouldn't you?
I was going to say, it does look like my golf swing. Mad slice. Jeez. He started that a good metre or two to the left of the left goal post, and it only just snuck into the right post. So clearly blowing left to right, this wind at Launceston, as you look at the goal face.
Hawthorn.
Big crosswind that wrecks both ends.
Hawthorn 6-1-37, the Dogs 4-2-26 for Athena Home Loans in this second quarter. Bailey Smith overruns the footy. Dunkley gets it instead. High kick inside 50 for the Dogs. Waitman was caught behind Granger Barras. McRae handballs over his head, misses Liberatore. Moore driving forward under the pack, gets his hands to it first and then sees it out the side. It's seized upon by Bontempelli. Williams skies it inside 50 for the Dogs, and Darcy's been put forward and he takes the mark. Sam Darcy, who has been playing as a tall defender the last couple of weeks, has the opportunity to tee up his first goal in AFL football.
He just towered over Granger Barras and Will Day, didn't he? Which might have been the reason why Luke Beveridge has tried this move. Not many big-bodied defenders down there.
Sam Darcy in game number 3 from straight in front, nurses it down the middle. It's Sam Darcy's first goal at the level, and all of his teammates congratulate him on the achievement. Hawthorn 6-1-37. The Dogs back into 5 points. They are 5-2-32.
So Sam Darcy's first AFL goal, and almost as amazingly, it's the first drop punt we've seen from a set shot at that end of the ground as well, where others have struggled to make good connection. It's a long ball drop for Sam Darcy, but controlled it really well. Great finish. More importantly, a really good mark. I reckon he might have been moved forward just to help encourage the Bulldogs midfielders to take the ball forward a bit more instead of trying to be perfect and hit players on the lead on a difficult day like it is today, the windy Launceston. Put a big tower down there so you can just sit it on top of his head. There's not going to be many Hawthorn defenders tall enough to go with him.
Hawthorn by 5. Bontempelli being held by Newcomb gets the free kick in the middle of the ground. Bontempelli onto the left, spreads it towards left half forward. Too hot for Hunter, then Dunkley inboard. Ugle-Hagan up against the boundary line, 40 metres out, centering kick. They can raffle it, and the mark taken by Darcy.
Just sit it on his head. That's going to be the game plan for the rest of the day if it stays this way.
So he's kicked his first goal in AFL competition moments ago. Can he butter it up with 2 in the space of about 2 minutes round the body? Yes, he can. A red letter day for young Sam Darcy, the 19-year-old. 6-1-37. Hawthorn now usurped by Western Bulldogs. 6-2-38. The red, white and blue lead by a point. For Athena Home Loans, Daisy Pearce.
What a mark, Daisy.
Great mark, and you could tell by the way Ugle-Hagan wheeled. He was probably within range, but you could just straight away see his eyes scanning for Sam Darcy. I think he's been put down there, and they're all well aware that he's got the height advantage. But did really well to mark that ball, falling backwards, unsure of what might be coming in terms of heat from behind. And a great finish as well.
Hanger of the day, thanks to hangmytv.com.au. 2 big contested marks inside 50 from Sam Darcy. That one was taken falling backwards, and he still had the reach to get up and get it overhead of everyone else. The Hawks with the centre clearance. Mitchell got it from Lynch, gives it back to the ruckman, goes inside 50. O'Meara feeds it over to Saunders. Here's a chance for his first goal in footy. He's got it. Quick break out of the middle, right down the centre, and Jack Saunders, the 20-year-old from Adelaide, gets his first goal in AFL. The small forward at 180 centimetres, put it right down the middle, and the Hawks take the lead back. They're 7-1-43. The Dogs are 6-2-38.
Hard not to smile at the moment with debutantes a debutant at this end kicking the first goal, and a father-son kicking his first goal at the other end. A rare clearance from the Hawks there was all the difference. Just space to work with once they went inside forward 50, and not having to create something from deep in defence. They need to start winning a few more, getting absolutely slaughtered. 10-2 centre clearances, 28 overall the Bulldogs' way.
7-1-43 Hawthorn, 6-2-38 Western Bulldogs. Still 10 minutes to go. Second term spills out to Liberatore, and then McRae just kicks it out to space so Hunter can run onto it. Hunter swings onto the left boot. Inside forward 50, he goes to the hot spot. Darcy could have juggled it, and then Treloar throws it on the boot. It's wobbling towards goal. Smith picks it up and swings round the body and kicks it. A goal to Rourke Smith for the Western Bulldogs. And it's goal for goal at the moment. Bulldogs 7-2-44, Hawthorn 7-1-43 with 10 to go second term.
Well, it was kick it to Sam Darcy again there. Nearly clunked it, got up over the back of the pack, but did his job anyway by bringing it to the front of the pack. And the Bulldogs, through Treloar, able to rove it. Rourke Smith just crashed through really strong, did well to shrug the tackle. Third lead change for the quarter there. Got a game on our hands, and Carlton supporters are getting more and more nervous.
Yeah, Dogs fans will be pretty nervous right now as well, the way this game's going.
Oh, yeah.
So the Dogs up by points. Right now on the live ladder, they draw level on points with Carlton on the premiership table, but are behind on percentage. They need to extend this margin out, not by much, to overtake Carlton on percentage. The Hawks get the centre clearance. The Dogs cut it off across left half back. They'll send it back up the wing. Hunter was infringed, but not unfairly by the umpires. Ball rolls on through past the boundary and for a throw in.
So Bruce, Ugle-Hagan, Norton and Sam Darcy in this Dogs forward line, giving you every reason just to get it in long and direct.
Boundary throw in out of sides. Whistle right off the back of the ruck duel. And a Hawthorn free kick. The hold was called. McRae was appealing that he was the one being held. It's Jai Newcomb's footy.
It's a long time, a year of football, isn't it? That was dissent about 15 rounds ago.
Newcomb squares it to centre half back. The Hawks will switch it. Day with a helicopter kick to the near side. Richards, in fact it was Rourke Smith, anticipated it well. Leapt up, cut it off, got it back from Dale. Rourke Smith sees no clear avenue inward, so he goes back outside and up the line. Dale floats it up to right half forward. Bounces in front of Dunkley. Newcomb got there first. Edged his way in front. Mitchell to Sicily, who's gone backwards with the kick. He's put Nash under the pump. Dunkley's pursuing. Hunter's in the fold as well. It spills out to Sam Darcy, who just couldn't control it at ground level. Paddles it sideways to Vandermeer. Norton has it stripped off him by Mitchell. Norton goes back again. Handballing out, but Morrison was there. There was a wall of brown and gold shirts. And Morrison's exiting kick finds Howe, and the Hawks are at left half back.
It was a hot potato, wasn't it? And then he kicks it to almost a 50-50, but doing well, Day, to take the mark. In fact, it's McGuinness. He's going to go inside 50 to Hardwick, spreads it wide to Sicily, and then Sicily finds Day. Down the line, out of sight he goes, and O'Meara takes a good mark in front of Liberatore. Goes inboard to Newcomb. They're building something here, Hawthorn. Edge of the centre square. Newcomb. Long and strong to the top of the square, and McAvoy takes a mark. I think that was really good vision from Newcomb.
Similar to how they've been playing it at the other end, McAvoy had the size advantage on Ed Richards, and Newcomb identified that really quickly, just put it to his advantage. Again, concerning for the Dogs, they're a team that played in last year's grand final, how quickly the Hawks were able to go end to end, marking the footy, 5 marks in a row from their back pocket, and now opposition having a shot at goal.
Left of your radio dial, 25 metres out for his second, McAvoy, and the Hawks are in front again. 7:22 left on the clock for Athena Home Loans. It is the Hawks 8-1-49, Western Bulldogs 7-2-44. This is a real arm wrestle at the moment, Days.
It is. I'm running out of space on my page writing down the goals too. Game's opening up. But Hawthorn, they played it well. The switch kick to shift the Dogs' defence to the other side of the ground, but then it was just too easy, the amount of space that Hawthorn had to just sit the ball up, take a mark, find another one. Best teams in the competition close that down a lot quicker. But credit to Hawthorn on a day like this to be able to execute the game plan that they're going with. Good control.
They've had 8 goals in a row without blemish in this second quarter, and 4 lead changes to go with it. The Dogs with the centre clearance. Hunter on the wing, inside 50. Norton flung himself at the footy.
Pushed.
And gets a free kick. James Blank out the back was the infringer. Sicily involved as well. And Aaron Norton will be rewarded for his endeavour at the contest.
It's a bit of inexperience there. Blank probably didn't need to do it. Norton was going to have to jump from about 5 deep anyway. There are enough bodies in the contest.
There's almost 2 hands in the back. Sicily had hands in the back on Darcy as well, I think. Aaron Norton, set shot to give the Dogs the lead again, and another lead change. He starts it right, it's bending back and hits the posts. He pointed that at the behind post, and it ended up hitting the goal posts. It bent back that much. Just needed a bit more in the end, but a behind for the Dogs. Hawthorn 8-1-49, the Dogs 7-3-45. The Hawthorn Footy Club up by 4 points.
Will Day in the goal square. And then just chisels one to Morrison in the back pockets. So Morrison going to go long, and the wind sort of takes hold of that too, and it swings to the right, almost up against the boundary line. Dale working it, and then the handball from Williams was chopped off, and the Hawks coming through the middle of the ground. Through Moore, Ward, inside 50 he goes, using his body. Gunston did it really well, just pushing out Cordy. So Gunston, he's kicked 3. He's 52 metres out, he's looking for options. He is going to now decide to back himself, but he's not convinced.
So he should aim to kick this one out on the full to the left of the goal face. Allow a little bit more room for movement, given he's going to have to kick it so far. Eyes still darting, though. This could go to the top of the square.
Yes, indeed. Well called, Days. And a well-spotted McAvoy, but he just dropped his lollies. Comes to Treloar, then Liberatore. Scrounges a kick outside 50. And then Hunter wrapped up by Nash. Umpire will ball it up at centre-half forward for the Hawks.
I reckon the whistle would have touched umpire's mouth there, ready to pay the mark to McAvoy, but just spilt it. Half a second more, though, it was his.
The Dogs go around the back of the stoppage and then spread it out to the far wing. Vandermeer, long ball inside towards the 50. Norton takes the mark, 51 metres out. Wheels onto the right boot. Casts it high to full forward. Waitman wants to fly. Front position was Granger Barras. Takes the mark for Hawthorn and will air the kick out the far side. Now there's run in both sides, end-to-end fast footy. Moore goes quickly to the wing and Gunston presents. Takes the grab. Gets up off his knees and delivers a kick to centre-half forward, and it's into the hands of Bailey Williams, who took the mark and got a push all the same. Williams free kick at centre-half back. He'll hit it long down the corridor to centre-half forwards. Granger Barras flew. Norton can crumb it at the fall of the footy. Hands off to Treloar. Spins it around to the goal square. Bruce traps it on the goal line. Blank's there tussling with him. It's a one-on-one at ground level. Blank's gone head over heels. Bruce is underneath it. Now the reinforcements come in. Ball spilt clear, and then Dunkley will score a try over the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in in the right forward pocket.
Looked more like jiu-jitsu for about 5 seconds there.
It's a great goal.
The ball was about a metre away from them, and they were both just wrestling on the ground.
Yeah, I think Bruce scored an ip-on there.
Boundary throw-in right forward pocket.
Trust you to have a term to go with it. Multi-sports Hill.
He's experienced in the... called judo before, haven't you, Matt Hill?
Yeah, for about 4 minutes. And it's an intriguing sport, no doubt about that. Real pack of players here. They're 20 metres out from the Bulldogs scoring zone as Moore got it to Sicily, who hacked it out, and here's Long. So Ned Long, both he and also Saunders, the debutants, getting enough touches of the pill today. Goes short, finds Gunston. Gunston up the ground, and that's the worst kick you've ever seen. Just rolls along the ground, and Newcomb, who was taken in a tackle, got it back to Gunston. There was a whistle on the play, though. Advantage played now. McDonald up into the air it goes, and then punched away from Moore by Duray, over and out. About 30 metres around from the Hawthorn goal. 4 points the difference. Hawks 8-1, Bulldogs 7-3.
Yeah, Newcomb got the free kick for being driven into the turf by Cordy after getting the handball away. Advantage paid.
AFL Nation, the second term for Athena Home Loans. Pay down your home loan faster with Athena Home Loans. On the wing, Sicily scrubs a kick up the line, takes a turn and rolls out of play at left half forward. Matt Hill, Jordan Canellis with you. Our expert for buymystock.com.au this afternoon is Daisy Pearce on AFL Nation.
They've marked the ball well today, the Hawks. 7-3 contested marks. I reckon Sam Darcy's taken all of the Bulldogs. 3.
Boundary throw in at left half forward for the Hawks, but it's the Dogs who get it. Rourke Smith feeds it over to Liberatore, hacks a kick down the wing. Waitman flew. Sicily was there. Flung a handball backwards. Granger Barras, who's wrestled into the turf by Dunkley.
But yeah, for Hawks fans, a bit of excitement to come out of today. This is a high-skilled game that they're playing in conditions that don't usually lend themselves to high skills.
Scuffed kick inside 50 by Treloar. Ugelhagen picks it up around his ankles. It's pinched off him by Sicily. slugs the ball out to the near side. A high kick. Cutting it off there, the Western Bulldogs in Williams. And then Gardner sits it up. Only travels 5 metres, but about 10 metres in the air. Liberatore at the fall of the footy. McDonald there as well. Liberatore flings himself back in. It's Willing at ground level. And it'll be another ball up. .49 plays 45. English against Lynch. Tips down to Treloar. Dunkley over to Liberatore, who was shouldered off the kick by Ward. And the ball only makes up about 5 metres, and another stoppage. Josh Ward on Josh Dunkley at the stoppage. English wins the tap. The Hawks will get possession through Dunkley, whose kick only goes a couple of metres and hits the chest of Liberatore. Now Daniel, and now the Dogs can open up the field. English, a long kick inside 50. Waitman flew early at the back range of Barras, tries to knock Waitman away from the footy, knowing Hardwick would get there first, and he does. And his kick just finds Sicily in the heart of defensive 50, and the Hawks can build from defence.
We go short to Scrimshaw. We'll go short to Mitchell, just outside defensive 50. Then pops it into the air, into the middle of the grounds. And they work it through Ward, and then it's McDonald inside 50. No Mark Dunstan. Swag of red, white and blue there. Richards with the loose handball. Then off the ground goes Dale. That was pretty clever in the end, and he was able to find a teammate down the field. Kick down the line to Vandermeer at left half forward. So Vandermeer in front of Sicily, 53 metres out, swings onto the right, and all on his own, Waitman. Waitman in front of Scrimshaw, takes it on his chest, and there'll be a slight angle, but he'll be kicking from about 12 metres out. And this is just what the doctor ordered for the Bulldogs. They're 4 behind with 57 seconds to go in the second term. Now it's right to left. This kick
shouldn't no
be
certainty.
Missing from here. Shouldn't be missing from here. Waitman comes in and snuck it in the end. So the Bulldogs hit the front late in the first half. 8-3-51 to 8-1-49.
Dale off the ground out of his defensive 50. Ended up in a mark. Travelled about 30 metres in the air off the ground and a mark. So that's what set them into motion then, the Bulldogs. A little bit disappointing for the Hawks. Vandermeer, before he went inside 50, went to ground, and still they weren't able to get enough bodies back. Late in this quarter, fatigue setting in. But you would have liked to see someone get back to Waitman, who was in the goal square all alone.
Almost 33 minutes elapsed in this second quarter on the clock for Makita Ruley outdoors, but not much left before half-time. The Dogs with a 2-point advantage. 5 lead changes in the term. Plenty of goals. English in the middle. Still time enough for one more with a clean break, and the Dogs might get it. Bontempelli off to Hunter. Left foot kick to full forwards. Getting back there is Granger Barras, and it rolls on through anyway for a behind to add 1 to the Dogs' score. Lockie Hunter hasn't played much this season, just his 9th game. 49 plays 52. Sicily walks out of the back square. Sends a long ball out to the wing. Howe's taken the mark for the Hawks at right half back. He pats the air to say slow it down. Chew the clock up. Don't concede anymore. He'll kick inboard to Ward. He'll swing it across defensive 50 to Sicily, and that is half-time at Utah Stadium. A critical game for the Western Bulldogs for their finals hopes. They need to win this game to give themselves the opportunity and hope that Carlton lose later on today. That game, Carlton and Collingwood, set to start in about an hour from now around the grounds for Kangan Institute. 1-3 TAFE. It was a hot game in that quarter, end-to-end, goal for goal, running hot for Ream, over 80 years manufacturing in Australia. The Hawks 8-1-49, the Dogs 8-4-52. So even though the Dogs have the lead and they've drawn level on points on the live ladder with the Blues, they just need a few more goals and to open up the margin to overtake the Blues on percentage. That's the state of play with that game later on. And then St Kilda and Sydney this evening at Marvel Stadium. Hawthorn 8-1-49, the Dogs 8-4-52. The Bulldogs lead by 3 points in that second quarter for Athena Home Loans. We'll come back on the other side of this with the halftime show and the latest from Essendon, with Ben Rutten being removed from the club. He's been sacked by the Essendon Football Club. We'll read part of that statement next on AFL Nation.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Athena Home Loans. Pay down your home loan faster with Athena Home Loans.
Are you self-employed and looking for a home or commercial loan? Talk to RedZ, loan specialists for the self-employed. They review each loan individually to meet your needs. Visit redz.com. Conditions apply. RedZ Lending Solutions Proprietary Limited, Australian Credit Licence 311128.
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now. Our local manufacturers and growers produce world-class products known for their quality, safety and reliability, all while generating local jobs, supporting our communities and helping Australian families now and into the future. So look for the trusted green and gold kangaroo logo. Buy Australian now. Visit australianmade.com.au.
NHP are your local trusted #1 choice for everything a Sparky needs. NHP electrical products are available from recognised electrical wholesale stockists with service-ready levels of key products. With NHP's range of globally sourced best-in-class products, you can think global, trust local. When you buy NHP, you're buying 100% Australian-owned and supporting local Aussie jobs. You can find NHP electrical products at your local recognised electrical wholesaler stockist or nhp.com.au.
I've been talking about the amazing Spinal Ease pillow for ages, and now after years of research, Spinal Ease have just released the amazing new Spinal Ease mattress, featuring an amazing button to change the firmness for any body, shape, size and weight. Plus a new mattress overlay to make your current mattress luxurious, and the Spinal Ease back support to add proper customisable comfort and support, all featuring the latest comfort technology and 100% Australian made. See the new Spinal Ease mattress at spinaleze.com.au.
If you're planning a bit of a road trip or taking off on a weekend family adventure, place your car tyres in the safest hands in the business. Tyre Power. The store-wide super sale is on right now, which means you can buy 3, get 1 free on selected Kumho passenger and SUV tyres. Winter roads can be wet, dangerous and slippery, so be more careful on the roads with quality tyres on your vehicle. Each Tyre Power is 100% independent and locally owned. Find your Aussie local at tyrepower.com.au.
Looking for a better value mobile plan? Mate! Get a range of 4G and 5G mobile plans with unlimited talk and text to standard Aussie numbers, plus 500 gigabyte data bank starting from just $20 per month. Plus, get a Tidal Hi-Fi music subscription included with selected plans. Mate! Why wait? Make the switch to Mate. Visit letsbemates.com.au or search Mate online.
Installery.
Well, the hottest of hot party you've ever seen. Rain comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on. Installery.
Ask your plumber for Ream, Australia's #1.
When you need a bus, call the #1 people movers, Go West. Go West are your solution for shutdowns and operations that require getting personnel into and out of remote locations. Go West have hire buses as well as charters to suit your needs, and safety is our primary focus, proven by more than 20 years of faultless service throughout WA. With bus depots in Karratha, Tom Price, Newman and Port Hedland, Go West can guarantee you continuity of service. Call Go West today. You'll find us online.
2 100% Aussie Angus beef patties, tasty cheese and chunky tomato relish. Macca's Mighty Angus doesn't just have might, it has height. Available after 10:30am for a limited time.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Squared to centre half back, Wards Right down the middle to McAvoy. He's taking a good mark overhead. Onto McDonald. They've got numbers out the back here, the Hawks. McDonald finds more. Top of the goal square, converts. The Western Bulldogs get the centre clearance. Bailey Smith feeds it on to Adam Treloar, who lets launch from 50, and he scores. Bounces on the goal line and through, and the Dogs are back within a goal. Mitchell got it from Lynch, gives it back to the ruckman, goes inside 50. O'Meara feeds it over to Saunders. Here's a chance for his first goal in footy. He's got it.
Hunter swings onto the left boot. Inside forward 50. He goes to the hot spot. Darcy could have juggled it, and then Treloar throws it on the boot. It's wobbling towards goal. Smith picks it up and swings around the body and kicks it. Goal to Rourke Smith for the Western Bulldogs.
Macca's I'm Loving It moments. Catch a quarter pounder range meal at Macca's today.
So, half-time in Launceston. It's the half-time floor show thanks to Choices Flooring. Hybrid flooring from Choices Flooring. It is the Western Bulldogs 8-4-52, Hawks 8-1-49.
The Choices Flooring Halftime Floor Show. Choices Flooring's Abode Hybrid Collection. The water-resistant flooring choice.
So as I mentioned, the Bulldogs lead by 3. We've got 2 for Sam Darcy, 2 for Aaron Norton, 1 for Adam Treloar, 1 to Marcus Bontempelli, 1 to Cody Waitman, 1 to Rourke Smith for Hawthorn, 3 to Jack Gunston, 2 to Ben McAvoy, 1 to Harry Morrison, 1 to Dylan Moore, and also 1 for Jack Saunders. And as we have a bit of a sift through the stats are up for Safety Steel Sheds, designed to save, built to last. Days, what has taken your eye?
Well, the Western Bulldogs dominating clearances still 28-11, and centre bounce clearances 13-3. They hadn't scored from stoppage in the first quarter, but they started to do some damage out of clearance in that second quarter, scoring 4 goals from stoppage. They've also been very handball happy all day, but for the first time they now have more kicks than handballs. Early on they were going 1 for 1, but I reckon that move of putting Sam Darcy forward has just encouraged them to take the ball forward a bit longer and more direct and use his height advantage to good effect down there. So that's where the Bulldogs are doing well. And Hawks, I mean, they're probably not coming into this thinking that they're going to pip the Western Bulldogs for clearances, but they do need to bridge that gap and make sure that they can get some pressure on at least so the Bulldogs don't score too much from stoppage in this second half. But the thing Hawthorn's doing well is controlling the ball really well. They've taken 82 marks in a half of footy to 31, the Bulldogs. So I think the Dogs would be looking to close out a few more of those and make sure that they can not see the ball move end to end like it did for the Hawks in that second quarter particularly.
Hanger of the day, thanks to hangmytv.com.au, because that's what they do, Days.
I think Sam Darcy's mark, I don't think he ended up needing to leave the ground, such is his height, but it was a really good mark, tricky in these conditions, and resulted in his second goal. It was a great grab.
The player of the day so far, thanks to Henley Homes. Henley completed homes now selling in Mickleham and Tarneet. Henley.com.au.
Well, James Sicily's been really good for the Hawks, and given that they've conceded so many inside 50s, it's 40-22 the Bulldogs' way. They had to do a lot of defending. He's had 23 disposals, 2 big contested marks, 7 intercept possessions. He's been great for the Hawks, and part of the reason they've been able to stop goals and repel from there and set up a few himself. But Bontempelli, the other one for the Western Bulldogs, he's had plenty of the footy and 7 score involvements in a pretty tight game, so having a huge impact as always. 5 clearances to go with it.
The unmissable moment for Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you drink wise.
I think it had to be one of Gunston's goal, the one that swung from about 2 metres to the left of the goalpost, the left goalpost, and ended up just sneaking inside the right goalpost, which gave us a bit of an indication of how violent the wind is at Launceston. But Jack Gunston's game altogether, I think, 3 goals straight in tricky conditions for forwards. I haven't had a lot of supply and opportunity, just the 22 inside 50s, but he has made the most of them by taking marks, hitting up on the lead really well, and then being able to finish.
MEGT Rookie of the Day, your career, your business, their job. So we've got a couple of debutantes there today. This is actually quite tricky for you.
Usually it can be slim picking sometimes, but Jack Saunders with his first goal was good for the Hawks. And also Ned Long showed some good signs. He bit off a really risky but dangerous kick into the middle of the ground that set up one of Hawthorn's goals. But you'd have to give it to Sam Darcy, playing in just his third game. He was looking ominous and having a big impact on the game across half-back, and then swung forward and managed 2 goals and kind of changed the look of how the Bulldogs were playing in that second quarter. He's been great.
The coach of the day, the coaching move of the day for TC Boxes, home for trays, canopies and toolboxes.
Well, I think both teams have come in and been able to stick to the plan. I mean, for the Hawks, just their ability, I mentioned it a few times, on a windy day like this, the margin for error in executing the skill is really small, and they've been able to play quite a highly skilled brand of football today, exploiting the Dogs' zone defence and just carving their way through. So they've come in with a plan and they've been doing it really well. So well drilled from Sam Mitchell. And then I think for the Bulldogs, that move of Sam Darcy forward had an immediate impact, and it was likely one that came from the coach's box rather than Sam Darcy just thinking he was going to go and drift down there and bag a few goals. So Luke Beveridge fighting back in that second quarter.
And then around the grounds for Kangan Institute, our heroes are made at Kangan Institute, kangan.edu.au, RTO 3077. Firstly, the Collingwood's Carlton game at 3:20 today. Sam Walsh is a late withdrawal for the Blues, so he's out of the team with injury, and Lockie O'Brien is going to be brought into the side, and Jack Nunes and Ollie Henry are the Medi subs for Carlton and Collingwood respectively. So back soreness is the reason why Sam Walsh is out of that game. That game starts at 3:20. You can hear it on the channels of AFL Nation on your chosen listening device, and St Kilda and Sydney will follow us here. That's at 4:40. So those are the 2 games coming up later today. The news from pretty much right off the top of the second quarter there, so we were obviously caught up in calling the game, but from Essendon is that they have parted ways with senior coach Ben Rutten, effective immediately. President David Barham informed Rutten of the decision to terminate his contract following the board meeting on Sunday morning. Barham acknowledged the difficult time for Rutten and his family and thanked him for his services to the Essendon Football Club. And the statement goes on with a couple of quotes, including from David Barham: "The unfortunate reality is, at various stages this season, we have simply been uncompetitive, and while we acknowledge that we have an emerging playing list, we were compelled to make the decision." It's 2 seasons in charge for Ben Rutten and out the door. Daisy, I guess it's still pretty raw, and we're just filtering this in now in the midst of calling a footy game, but your immediate thoughts on Ben Rutten?
You feel for him first and foremost, particularly given the way that it's played out. But, it sort of felt like it was heading this way, and you couldn't have seen him going on given the way that he's been undermined throughout the week. I think regardless of whether he wanted to or what had come about from their review, the last-minute ditch to get Alistair Clarkson has undermined him to a point where it was untenable.
Yeah.
Disappointing. 2 years, is it enough? I think the expectations were probably increased by the fact that the Bombers snuck into finals last year. It's disappointing for him the way that it's played out, and you feel for him. But you hope that it's the upheaval overall that the Bombers need to get back on track from this point forward.
There'll be more said on this throughout the week, and when you want to call up, you can do it for Star 21, 2021 Telstra Enterprise Partner of the Year. This has been the Halftime Floor Show. Thanks to Choices Flooring, hybrid flooring from Choices Flooring. This is AFL Nation for Icon Services, solutions that matter. We are in the commentary box at Launceston. Thanks to Coates, equipped for anything. Halftime, the Dogs lead by 3 points. Second half up after this.
A sports news update for Rolled. Eat good with Rolled. It's fast, fresh Vietnamese.
I'm Victoria Raptis with your sports update for Rolled. Richmond has locked in 7th spot on the ladder heading into finals with a 66-point win over Essendon. Coach Damien Hardwick not fussed who they play next.
It doesn't worry us, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, we're just excited to give ourselves a chance to play in a final that...
Elsewhere, Geelong defeated West Coast by 85 points, wins also to Gold Coast, Port Adelaide and Fremantle. In the NRL, Cronulla secured a top 4 berth with a 40-6 defeat of Manly. The Eels overcame the Bulldogs 42-6 and the Roosters defeated the Tigers 72-6. In the EPL, Crystal Palace was too good for Aston Villa, winning 3-1, while Southampton beat Leicester City 2-1. Aussie golfer Adam Scott shot a 2-under-69, conceding the lead in the BMW Championship to Patrick Cantlay.
A sports news update for Rolled. Fast, fresh Vietnamese. You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Are you self-employed and looking for a home or commercial loan? Talk to RedZ, loan specialists for the self-employed. They review each loan individually to meet your needs. Visit redz.com. Conditions apply. RedZ Lending Solutions Proprietary Limited, Australian Credit Licence 311128.
Explore Carragini National Park on this new fun Go West tour. With experienced guides, you'll discover the ancient gorges and spectacular scenery. Travel on 4x4 buses into the four corners of the national park and leave your troubles behind at camp. If you're flying into the Pilbara, you can book airport transport services to Carragini as well. We have you covered with safe, fun and memorable experiences in the Carragini National Park with Go West Tours. Visit gowesttours.com.au. NHP are your local trusted #1 choice for everything a Sparky needs. NHP electrical products are available from recognised electrical wholesale stockists with service-ready levels of key products. With NHP's range of globally sourced best-in-class products, you can think global, trust local. When you buy NHP, you're buying 100% Australian-owned and supporting local Aussie jobs. You can find NHP electrical products at your local recognised electrical wholesaler stockist or nhp.com.au.
Sometimes needing new tyres can catch us by surprise. That's why Tyre Power gives you the power of Zip Pay and Zip Money. It means you can get what you need now, get back on the road safely and pay for it later, taking advantage of the interest-free periods. So if you need new tyres or mechanical repairs, don't wait till it gets worse. Get them now with Zip Pay or Zip Money at Tyre Power. No fuss, no wait, no worries. Terms and conditions apply. So visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner-operator.
Looking for a better value 5G mobile plan? Mate! Get the Soulmates 5G plan with 60 gig of data, 500 gigabyte data bank, and a Tidal Hi-Fi music subscription of just $40 per month. That's right, 5G mobile for just $40 per month. Mate! Why wait? Make the switch to Mate. Visit letsbemates.com.au or search Mate online.
Okay, my battery's nearly gone. Am I picking up the kids from training or you are?
Yeah, can you get them for 5?
Couldn't hear you. Can you say that again? My battery's nearly... flat.
Without charge on your phone, nomophobia kicks in. No mobile phone phobia. You can beat it with a Signet Power Bank. With a Signet Power Bank, there's no more running out of charge when you need it most.
Yeah, okay, great. I'll be there at 5 to get the kids.
Aussie owned, Aussie designed. Power your life with a Signet Power Bank. Signet.com.
Oh, a good mark to Wilson. He plays on at full pace and kicks a beauty to Thomas. Thomas gives off to Harris. Harris closes in on 50, but wait, he's tackled by Smith. Or is it Williams? Williams scrabbles for the ball, kicks it to a guy in blue, who kicks it to some other guy in blue. Now some tall bloke has the ball. He kicks it to an even taller bloke. Kick, handball, kick.
Don't miss the best bits. You won't miss a moment if you drink Wise. Proudly brought to you by Drink Wise.
G'day, it's Gerard Healy and Kane Corns. We're all creatures of habit, and if you've made it a habit to sleep on worn-out pillows, time to sleep on a Spinal Ease.
It aligns the head, neck and spine for comfort and support.
Since I got a Spinal Ease pillow, no more annoying headaches. I absolutely love it.
The Spinal Ease pillow will change the way you sleep and wake forever.
Order your Spinal Ease pillow now and get free delivery. Visit spinaleze.com.au. That's spinaleze.com.au. It'll change the way you sleep forever.
They say you can't beat a classic. And with 100% Aussie Angus, fresh lettuce, onion and juicy tomato, Macca's Classic Angus proves them 100% right. Available after 10:30am.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
The third quarter underway for Tyre Power Tyre Safety Experts week in, week out. And the Western Bulldogs going to the left of your radio dial, where Smith gets a handball to Hunter, who kicks it towards the square. No mark taken from Norton. Waitman runs onto it, puts it up into the air. It's an up and under and out of bounds on the full. Western Bulldogs 8-4-52, Hawthorn 8-1-49 to kick off the third term.
Well, again, straight out of the middle of the ground for the Western Bulldogs from the centre bounce. I've been impressed with the Hawks so far, but I wonder how sustainable this is if they keep getting dominated from clearance, whether they can keep moving the footy from these dangerous parts of the ground.
Daisy Pearce, our expert on AFL Nation for buymystock.com.au, with Jordan Canellis and Matt Hill with you this Sunday afternoon. Ward at right half back, squares it inside defensive 50. The Hawks in possession. Day will move it to the near wing. A long kick down the line, carried by the Breeze a few extra metres. Lynch pats it down, hits the deck. Williams picks it up for the Dogs. English flicks it out the side to Vandermeer, drives it back inside 50. Underneath it, Darcy, but Granger Barras outpointed him at the back and takes the defensive mark. And he'll go to full back. And the Hawks will try and switch it to the outer side. Sicily, left back pocket. He's got too many obvious options down the line. They're all manned up 1-to-1. Goes short to Nash, doesn't make the distance. Nash has to kick it around the body up the line, and the Hawks under pressure. Some good positioning from the Dogs. Gardner read the aerial footy the best. And then Williams' short kick out the side to Dale. A few metres in from the boundary line. Hits it up towards right half forward. Darcy flies up, takes a good overhead mark.
Plenty of tricks, doesn't he?
Is he just beyond his range here? He marked it on the paint of 50. He is, according to himself, so he goes in field instead to Daniel.
Might have hurt his knee a little bit in that marking contest as well, I think. He's playing on, but grabbed it a little bit.
Daniel delivers into the right forward pocket, and Day is there for the Hawks and takes the defensive grab.
Held up pretty well down back. 42 inside 50s they've had to defend. Dogs have only been able to put up 14 shots.
So Day goes wide. No Mark McAvoy. Moore spoiled him. McRae comes in. And McRae then chips it towards offensive 50, where it was too hot for Darcy, and then a tunnel ball from Day inboard. Moore, quick handball on hands and knees was Blank, attempted to get it to his teammate Ian McGuinness, and in the end it's over and out.
Sam Darcy just limping a little bit still. Can't be too worried about it as he continues on, but just looking a little bit ginger. It looks like right knee.
So it's a throw in at right half forward for the Dogs. Lynch won it down only as far as Liberatore. Short ball to McRae, kicks inside 50, and Darcy just read it. He found isolation in the end and took a good strong grab 25 metres out, and can go back, the young man, and look for three.
Gee, natural footballer, isn't he? He read that so well again. McRae is so skillful at being able to kick across the body and disguising where it's going. But Sam Darcy knew exactly where that footy was going to land.
So it's been a big day for him already, kicking his first goal, and tried to swing it around with the Breeze. It was a low trajectory kick, and he's hit the post flush. 8-5-53 Bulldogs, 8-1-49 Hawthorn. 16:37 left on the clock. Victoria Police Assistance Line. Use the Police Assistance Line for non-urgent situations.
AFL Nation this afternoon brought to you by Macca's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. Hawthorn's kicking in from Will Day out to the near side. And it's hit the ground among a pile of bodies. Jack Saunders primarily.
Just that one kick out as a sample size, but it looks like the Dogs might be going with more of a man-on-man defence now. Beveridge might be fed up with the amount of marks the Hawks are getting.
A tap guided down to Bontempelli, onto Vandermeer, inside 50. Norton out in the left forward pocket, traces Blake Hardwick down to the line, and a boundary throw-in.
82 marks in half a footy is right up there with the highest in a half so far this year. Similar last week against the Giants.
Boundary throw in to the hot spot inside 50 for the Dogs, who are scoring to the left of your radio dial in the third term, the northern end of Utah Stadium. It's extracted from the Hawks out of defensive 50, but the centering kick has been chopped off by Bailey Dale, and he's been met immediately by two Hawthorn tacklers. The two debutants, Long and Saunders, combining together, and they've brought together a stoppage at centre-half forward for the Western Bulldogs. English and Lynch break even in the ruck battle. Lynch gets the second possession and then is held up. Another ball up. Lynch wins the tap the second time around. Hits it straight down to Dale, however, who rolls it inside 50 for the Dogs. Intercepted by Granger Barras. Flings out a handball under duress to Day, who shreds one tackle. Has a handball to Hardwick, which was almost picked off, but Hardwick did well against Vandermeer. The Hawks dump it down the line. There's all Dogs shirts around there. English takes the mark on the near wing, and the Dogs will reload once more.
So the big man English just pops it up into the air. A lot of players around the football. No mark. Lynch, Waitman, handball. Treloar around the body. Wants a good leg break. Doesn't get it. Goes through for a behind.
Finn McGuinness, I reckon, running with Bailey Smith as well. He's kept him to 9 disposals for the half. So another scalp for Finn McGuinness. Although Bailey Smith, runs out games well. Often his last quarters are his best. The job is not done.
So Bulldogs 54, Hawthorn 49. 15 to go third term. So Nash calling for the cavalry. And then kicks a high ball down the line. No mark taken from McAvoy, Felder, Mitchell, handball inboard to Ward. Ward dodging, weaving. Was able to get away from Treloar and then straight down the throat of Gunston. Good kick.
Ended up with about 15, 20 metres on Ryan Gardner. He just anticipates the play so well. Saw that Ward had gotten through and was going to carry that ball a bit longer. So instead of presenting up to him to give him the option, he just ducked back.
Round the body he goes. Jack Gunston makes no mistake, and the Hawks are back in front. He has kicked 4 for the afternoon. And with 14:18 left on the clock, third term, Hawthorn 9-1, 55. They've been accurate. Western Bulldogs 8-6, 54 days. It's game on.
Game on, all right. Well done, Josh Ward. Took the game on as a long player. Plenty of possible tacklers in the middle of the ground, but he just took them on. And Jack Gunston, his ability to read that scenario, he has to be ready to get in front and present to that kicker if pressure does come on. But he saw that he'd gotten through and snuck out the back on Gardner, giving him 15 metres of space and making it a shot from 25 out instead of 40 out. Smart play.
Jack Gunston up to 32 goals this season. Third overall on the Hawks list behind Bruce and Lewis. The Hawks up by a point, 55 to 54. Mitchell misses the rove. And English is caught by Mitchell in the end.
His arm ended up in a precarious position. Lucky not to get injured there, English.
Mitchell plays on straight away. He hacks the kick. It slews off the side of the boot inside 50. Almost falls kindly for Saunders. And he's got it. A bit messy all around there from the Hawks, but they've made it work. And Saunders has the footy. He's offloaded quickly to Scrimshaw from 50 metres. Lets fly. Gets it to the teeth of goal and is stopped on the line. And it just caught the top of the padding on the posts. And the Hawks extend their lead by 1. Just their second behind of the day. 9-2, 56 the Hawks. To the Dogs, 8-6, 54 for the Victoria Police assistance line.
Daniel goes for a gallop and then kicks it to Richards, who then finds Norton at left half back for the Bulldogs. So Norton up the ground again. He's going to go backwards, not the required distance to Daniel, so he has to have a bit of a bounce now, and did well to get away from his opponent. Down the line he goes, no mark from Blank, and then Bontempelli just tried to liftily paddle the ball between his legs. He was looking for Ugelhagen, but the boundary line beats them all. It'll be a throw-in, near side wing.
That was a Nick Kyrgios tweener.
It was a tweener, wasn't it?
He hit it backwards through his legs.
Such a skillful player, Bontempelli. Thinks on his feet very quickly. Smith wrapped up in a standing tackle. And then English, he's wrapped up in a tackle, and the umpire will ball it up. Jai Newcomb not too far away from the action as always. McAvoy flies early, won the tap to Mitchell. It's a hot football, this one at the moment. McRae. And wrapped up again. So another stoppage. So this time it was English doing the ruck work, slaps it only to the advantage of Newcomb on hands and knees. He's taken by Trelawney, hatched over the top of it, Newcomb. And the umpire has paid a free kick against him, and fair enough. So Adam Trelaw gets the free kick just short of left half forward. Centering ball. And it was Richards who took his time. He was taken by Bruce, but he was able to shrug the tackle in the end. And races away onto the left boot. Top of the square in isolation. Hunter, all on his own, takes the mark. 45-degree angle, 25 metres out.
Well, it was unconventional the way he went about it, Richards. He was a little bit casual initially, which invited the Bruce tackle, but then kept his head. He turned a bad situation into a good one.
So 11 touches for Lockie Hunter today. This is not an easy kick, and he shanks it to the right. It's a 1-point ball game. Hawthorn 9-2-56, Western Bulldogs 8-7-55, and Bulldog supporters' blood pressure is just about through the roof.
Sicily's rebounding kick has ended in a Western Bulldogs free. Daniel Howe giving that away out at right half forward for the Dogs. Daniel, 80 metres from home, sits it up to the edge of 50. It's been taken by Williams on the angle from the boundary. Gets around the man on the mark. Sends it to the top of the goal square, setting it up. No mark taken by Norton. Dunkley, quick snapshot was smothered. Ricochets down to Rourke Smith. Now to Sam Darcy. The snapping kick, top of the goal square. Hit the wrong side of the footy. And it wobbles out to the left for a minor score. Scores a level. 9-2, plays 8-8. Both sides on 56 points.
Sicily out of the goal square. 11 minutes left in this third term. For Makita rule the outdoors. Don't forget for Kagan Institute 1-3 TAFE relays on AFL Nation, taking Collingwood and Carlton later on. And it's Dunkley on the bottom of the pack. It'll be a stoppage. And a ball up. English slapped it down. Then coming through Dale, got a quick handball to McRae, and then, that's a terrific kick, went like a jet to Ugle-Hagan, and then he spots the man, Norton, leads for him and takes the mark. 40 metres out, 45-degree angle, actually a bit more acute than that. Norton can go back and look for his third.
Yeah, well played. Got out the front of the stoppage, and then the McRae dart, impossible to defend, and Ugle-Hagan knew he was outside his range, got it moving quickly. Norton had presented up to him with really good timing.
So, considering it's a breezy day, this is not an easy kick. 45 metres out, it's going to swing violently to the right and goes through for a behind, puts the Bulldogs in front. 8-9-57, Hawthorn 9-2-56 with 10 to play third term.
Tough spot to kick a goal from there. You could almost have another 10 shots and miss them all on the way that the wind's blowing today.
Hardwick loops a kick to Howe at left half back. The Dogs keeping Hawthorn pinned up in their own half in this third quarter. Hardwick unable to get away from Waitman, put the pressure on. His kick, therefore, slewed a little bit into the favour of the Dogs, but Sicily was clean at ground level. Picks it up at right half back. Ward hands it off. Ned Long is caught. Jamara Ugle-Hagan tracked him down. Ugle-Hagan, the Dogs not letting the footy outside of their forward 50, putting the forward pressure on the tall forwards. And this will be a set shot from just left of true centre half forward. Can he ride the breeze? Jamara Ugle-Hagan looking for his first of the day. Left foot kick, starts right, goes further right and ends up touched out of bounds, almost out of bounds on the full, but took a finger.
Kicked it too straight, didn't he? Not adjusting for the wind. Just one too many handballs there for the Hawks. Trying to exit is what created that free kick.
Boundary throw in right forward pocket. Darcy doing the ruck work in forward 50. Hardwick is there again for the Hawks. Dunkley, right forward pocket, snaps a kick, top of the goal square. Waitman flies through the air, can't hold it. Secondary efforts, Jamari Eagle-Hagan, spearing kick off the toe of his boots. And it took the wrong angle out to the left. Now the minus score, the Dogs lead by 2 points now, 56-58 at Utah Stadium.
Yes, it's a bit of a slow burn this third term, Days.
It is.
Scrimshaw leaves the square.
4 shots between Eagle-Hagan and Sam Darcy in this quarter.
Yeah.
It's an exciting little glimpse of the future for Doggies fans.
The Hawks progress it to the outer wing. They fly. No mark taken. Ricocheted ball to O'Meara. Handball. And finds that man in Morrison, who's been busy today again. Inside 50 he goes. Taken by Duray against his old club in front of the debutant Saunders. So Duray directs traffic to the other side of the grounds. He finds Gardner. And Gardner and pokes it forward and finds Dunkley. Guiding ball to Josh Dunkley. Just short of centre wing on the outer side. Bulldogs by 2. And when he goes short, buttering up for him was Bailey Williams. So Williams, they try and build something here. Off half back, goes inboard to Smith. And then to Daniel, just the required distance. Along centre half back they go. Gardner. And now to the near side, Richards, as they go laterally. Richards pokes it up into the air via foot and finds Hunter. So Hunter near side wing, plenty of possessions. They've progressed only half the field so far. Hunter with a long left boot now, searching for Norton. English at the front and takes the mark. Sat up in the breeze and the big fella snaffled it.
Confident, he's got his back turned. He'll have to kick this from 50 out in the dead pocket where it's hard to score from, because the breeze will push this one across the goal face.
So what does he have to do here, Dave? Does he have to aim at the left point post?
Yeah, and low and hard. Don't want to sit it up too much. I think he'll put this to the space at the top of the square, though.
So he's right on the chalk at the 50.
Shouldn't
aims at the left goal post. It sits up, and then in the end, Lynch just paddles it over for a rush behind. So the Bulldogs lead by 3. 8:11:59. Hawks 9:2:56. 6:45 left on the clock.
Had the accuracy, just not the distance there, English.
Stuck it well.
7 behinds in the quarter for the Dogs. It's Hawthorn 1-1, the Dogs 0-7 in this term. A free kick to the Dogs, they've taken advantage. Bailey Smith, top of the goal square. Norton is there, and Hardwick will rush the behind. And the Dogs move to 0-8 for the term. They lead by 4 points. 9:2:56 Hawthorn to the Dogs 8:12:60. The kick in from the Hawks out to the near side. Long was infringed through the air by Waitman.
It's hurt his elbow, the one that he may have dislocated earlier in the season, although no, it's the other one, the unstrapped elbow.
He set the dangerous precedence of staying on the ground.
Yeah, he just put his arm out to support himself. Yeah, on the Easy Debit replay screen. Join Easy Debit today. Pardon me, today. Beg your pardon.
8 of the last 10 scores, the Bulldogs. Could be Dan Wall just starting to look a bit shaky here.
The Hawks tried to switch it to the outer side. The Dogs cut it off.
Thankfully for the Hawks, or the thing that's keeping them in it is they've been very inaccurate in this third quarter.
Hawthorn haven't really possessed it or had much territory in this third quarter. It's been all Western Bulldogs, but they haven't scored a goal yet. Rourke Smith trundles a kick up inside forward 50. Waitman picks it up, offloads to Bontempelli, breaks a tackle, gives it over to Norton from straight in front. Aaron Norton, there it is. The Dogs get their first goal of the third quarter. Norton has his third, and the Dogs can extend their leads out to a 10-point margin.
Again, another clearance win. A good pick-up from Cody Waitman, and Bontempelli breaking tackles as he does. And finally, finishing was Norton. They've had plenty of opportunities in this quarter. Dominating clearance. They've probably got more time than they think they have at the moment. The Dogs just need to take a breath and steady. That's what Bontempelli always does. Seems to be able to find calm where no one else can.
It's taken the Dogs to the 20th minute of the third quarter on the clock for Makita Ruley Outdoors to find their first goal. But they found it. They've got a 10-point lead now at Utah Stadium. On AFL Nation for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety.
Yes, a big day on AFL Nation thanks to Kegan Institute, 1-3 TAFE, Collingwood and Carlton on the AFL Nation app, and also some relays taking that big clash at the MCG as we see off the ground at the moment. James Blank receiving some attention. English flies early in the ruck, comes down to Smith on a dime, swings around off a standing start. It's a real up and under. Underneath of it was Smith. Bounce favoured Liberatore, tried to kick it to himself off the ground. Coming through was Day. Smith is there. Is the chalk going to beat them? It will. It's over and out on the outer side of the ground. Bulldogs by 10. Looks as though Blank's just got an issue with the left thigh. There's a bit of tape being applied there. 52 metres around from the Western Bulldogs goal. Falls to Bontempelli. Bontempelli looking to enterprise something. Got it to Dale. Under pressure. Got it back to Bontempelli. And then his kick inside 50. Nobody home bar Sicily, who was able to take an easy mark. So Sicily looking for some support. Had Hardwick behind him. Decides to go up the middle. It's dangerous, and English has chopped it off. Quick ball to Bontempelli, who then looks for Waitman. It skittles him, and then Ugle-Hagan goes in. Day scooped it off the ground towards Hardwick, and then from Howe out wide they go. McInnes, and then round the corner. They've done really well here at the Hawks. They've got out of trouble, and the mark taken by Long at half-back.
Long will chip it over the top, up the wing. O'Meara goes down the line again and finds Bruce. And now he'll turn and drive it inside 50 with the aggressive kick. It bounces into the pocket for Gunston and then bounces on its point, jags over his head and out for a boundary throw-in inside 50 for the Hawks.
Rare fumble from Gunston, but it was a good build-up from the Hawks. Quick-fire handballs under pressure and a really clean gather off the deck by McDonald.
Ball thrown in, left forward pocket for Hawthorn. Lynch with a tap. Wards over his head, squares it to centre half forward. Newcomb underneath it, bounces just too shallow of him. Ward goes again, pokes it further inside 50, and once again it takes a bounce on its point and goes over Jack Gunston's head on the lead. Another boundary throw in, this time closer to goal. About 3 metres around from the left behind post for the Hawks, who trail by 10 points in the third quarter with 4 minutes still to play in the term. Thrown in, Lynch got around English. Richards' kick was shut down. Liberatore swings around, right foot kick
Great
up towards Dunkley, who's taken a good mark.
He's with his 23rd disposals. He's got 8 clearances, 8 score involvements, Josh Dunkley. To be seen if it's his last game in Bulldogs colours. He'll be a watch through the trade period, but if it is, it's going to be a very good one.
Might be hard to pick who the player of the day will be for Henley Holmes, billed with confidence, but he might feature depending on how the rest of the second half goes. McRae and a free kick for the Dogs here on the defensive side of the wing. Cody Waitman will have it for the Western Bulldogs.
So we get into that stage, are we? The third term where we're waiting for that crucial moment for New Farm, Australian through and through. Ball on the outer side wing with McRae for the Bulldogs, finds Waitman. Bulldogs by 10, 2 minutes 30 to go, third term. Waitman inboard, goes short to Duray. So Duray, we're at a standstill at the moment, so he's got no options, so he just bangs it high and long to right half forward. Granger Barris comes in with the big fist and goes out of play, 52 metres around from the Western Bulldogs goal. 2:21 left on the clock, third term. On a fascinating final day of AFL competition, round 23 in the home and away season. Throw in. English took it out of the air, got it to Smith, and then McRae, and then a dinky little handball, kick round the body, and English has taken the mark on his chest. So English can go back from, well, right on the chalk, 50 metres out. Wasn't convinced earlier on. You'd be thinking he might pop this up to the top of the square. His eyes are darting. Tim English, he's had 13 disposals. Yes, he's going to go short and it's going to be chopped off. So in the end, it's going to be the Hawks sending it out wide, and running onto it is Gardner for the Dogs, but Gunston's been able to pinch it and they're off to the races, the Hawks.
Gunston runs infield, works a low footy up to centre half forward. McDonald offloads to Bruce around the side. Has to get rid of two tacklers. Right foot kick around the body inside forward 50, but in defence is Ryan Gardner, who stands in the hole and takes an uncontested mark. Still enough time in this third quarter for the Dogs to add one more to their tally. They've moved it out to the near wing. Bontempelli in the midfield zone. The Dogs lead by 10 points, 56-66. Bontempelli up towards left half forward. Dunkley again takes a good mark. He's 2 kicks from home. 70 metres out. He's going to load up with a torp and send it up to the hot spot inside 50. Darcy's the target. McAvoy drops the mark. Rourke Smith will keep it locked in as he takes Howe down in an embrace and a ball up.
Fair to say, Dave's not the most inspiring third quarter you've ever seen.
No, Dogs have had the opportunity to put this one away, just inaccuracy. And what that means is no opportunity to reset at centre bounce, which often thins the numbers out.
The Dogs have to win this game to keep their finals hopes alive, but win by a certain margin as well. So right now they've got themselves a level on points on the premiership table with Carlton, but are behind by 0.6%. So they still sit in ninth, have to extend this lead by a few more goals. Ball thrown up at centre half forward. There's a free kick here, and this will pretty much end the third term as the Hawks have it in their back half with McAvoy.
It's lived in the Dogs' front half of the ground this quarter, so not a lot of room to move.
McAvoy will smack it out the far side. 3-quarter time at UTAS Stadium in Launceston. The Dogs, as our expert Daisy Pearce said for buymystock.com.au, it was all in their front half in that third term, but they only scored the 1 goal and 8 behinds in that quarter. The Dogs, they could have done a lot more damage. They're clinging on to their finals hopes for now. Hawthorn 9-2-56, the Dogs 9-12-66 on AFL Nation. That third quarter for the Victoria Police Assistance Line. One more term in Hawthorn's season. The Dogs are hoping that it won't be one more term in their season. On the other side of this on AFL Nation.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Victoria Police. Use the Police Assistance Line for non-urgent situations.
Are you self-employed and looking for a home or commercial loan? Talk to Red Z, loan specialists for the self-employed. They review each loan individually to meet your needs. Visit redz.com. Conditions apply. Red Z Lending Solutions Proprietary Limited, Australian Credit Licence 311128.
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now. Our local manufacturers and growers produce world-class products known for their quality, safety and reliability, all while generating local jobs, supporting our communities and helping Australian families now and into the future. So look for the trusted green and gold kangaroo logo. Buy Australian now. Visit australianmade.com.au.
NHP are your local trusted #1 choice for everything a Sparky needs. NHP electrical products are available from recognised electrical wholesale stockists with service-ready levels of key products. With NHP's range of globally sourced best-in-class products, you can think global, trust local. When you buy NHP, you're buying 100% Australian-owned and supporting local Aussie jobs. You can find NHP electrical products at your local recognised electrical wholesaler stockist or nhp.com.au.
I've been talking about the amazing Spinalese pillow for ages, and now after years of research, Spinalese have just released the amazing new Spinalese mattress, featuring an amazing button to change the firmness for any body, shape, size and weight. Plus a new mattress overlay to make your current mattress luxurious, and the Spinalese back support to add proper customisable comfort and support, all featuring the latest comfort technology and 100% Australian made. See the new Spinalese mattress at spinaleze.com.au.
If If you're planning a bit of a road trip or taking off on a weekend family adventure, place your car tyres in the safest hands in the business. Tyre Power. The store-wide super sale is on right now, which means you can buy 3, get 1 free on selected Kumo passenger and SUV tyres. Winter roads can be wet, dangerous and slippery, so be more careful on the roads with quality tyres on your vehicle. Each Tyre Power is 100% independent and locally owned. Find your Aussie local at tyrepower.com.au.
Looking for a better value mobile plan? Mate! Get a range of 4G and 5G mobile plans with unlimited talk and text to standard Aussie numbers, plus 500 gigabyte data bank starting from just $20 per month. Plus, get a Tidal Hi-Fi music subscription included with selected plans. Mate! Why wait? Make the switch to Mate. Visit letsbemates.com.au or search Mate online.
Installery. For the hottest of hot party you've ever seen. Ream comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on. Installery.
Ask your plumber for Ream, Australia's #1.
When you need a bus, call the #1 people movers. Go West. Go West are your solution for shutdowns and operations that require getting personnel into and out of remote locations. Go West have hire buses as well as charters to suit your needs, and safety is our primary focus, proven by more than 20 years of faultless service throughout WA. With bus depots in Karratha, Tom Price, Newman and Port Hedland, Go West can guarantee you continuity of service. Call Go West today. You'll find us online.
2 100% Aussie Angus beef patties, tasty cheese and chunky tomato relish. Macca's Mighty Angus doesn't just have might, it has height. Available after 10:30 a.m. for a limited time.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in...
Round the body he goes. Jack Gunston makes no mistake, and the Hawks are back in front.
Hawk-Smith trundles a kick up inside forward 50. Waitman picks it up, offloads to Bontempelli, breaks a tackle, gives it over to Norton. From straight in front, Aaron Norton, there it is. And the Dogs can extend their leads out to a 10-point margin.
Macca's I'm Loving It moments. Catch a quarter pounder range meal at Macca's today.
Western Bulldogs 9-12-66, Hawthorn 9-2-56. What a crucial 30 minutes we have ahead of us here at UTAS Stadium in Launceston. The opening bounce here in this final term for Tyre Power. Your matchday favourites for tyre safety. Daisy, a quick prediction.
Well, I think Dogs are in control now. +7 clearances, +15 inside 50s and +34 disposals all in that third quarter. The only thing they didn't really control and do well was finishing their work. Just 1 goal for all their efforts.
Here's the dulcet tones of Jordan Canellis.
The Dogs get the opening clearance. Out of the middle, up to centre half forwards. That's the Hawks, I beg your pardon. Up to centre half forward. Bruce dropped the footy, gave it back to Newcomb, who rifles a kick to the top of the square. Dylan Moore snaps around the body on the right foot from 15 metres out and opens the last quarter with his second goal. And the Hawks start the term by getting back within 4 points. 10-2-62. The Dogs 9-12-66.
Well, they had to get the first goal, the Hawks, just to get a bit of belief going again. Starting to rain at Launceston. It's been a windy day. Scoring is not easy. And they won the centre clearance, the all-important centre clearance, which they haven't had great fortune with all day. But the space that opened up, Jai Newcomb just fashioned an ugly-looking kick to Moore, and he finished the work.
So a good start for the Hawks in this final term. 9-12-66 Bulldogs, 10-2-62 Hawthorn. English read it well, got it down towards Bontempelli, who in the end had to effect a tackle. And the umpire will ball it up again. There's Ward, who was wrapped up that time. O'Meara taken by Treloar on hands and knees. Dunkley trying to barge in. English just paddles it forward 5 metres via the boot. Scrimshaw comes barging through. Did he give away a free kick? Yes, he did. Vandermeer got the free kick for the Bulldogs at centre half forward. So Vandermeer urgently wants to get on with it. The lead came from Darcy. Couldn't quite take the mark. And there's going to be a stoppage here about 35 metres out, as it was coming through Dunkley, wrapped up in a tackle as it starts to rain in Launceston. Lynch and Norton in the ruck. They negate each other. And another stoppage. Dunkley taken by Newcombe. 30 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal, right of your radio dial. The Dogs lead by 4. Norton tries to shove Lynch out of the way, and then Treloar takes Day. So another stoppage. Geordie, maybe you can stop the route of stoppages here.
Try and guide us out of here. Nash has his body hunched over the footy. Waitman over to Smith. Now Vandermeer with a quick snap at goal, but it was smothered. Ricochets backwards out of 50. Richards picks it up and will dump it back inside. Top of the goal square. Sam Darcy was smothered by 4 defenders enveloping him. Bailey Smith handballs for Vandermeer, but it's too heavy. And another stoppage. This time a boundary throw-in. At right half forward.
Bailey Smith still just the 15 disposals in this game, being closely checked by Finn McGuinness.
62 plays 66. The Dogs with a 4-point lead. Ball thrown in. Hits the ground underneath the feet of Tom Liberatore.
I note Bailey Williams just off the ground at the moment. Went in to that pack and got a bit of a hit to the solar plexus, so he's on the bench at the moment.
The boundary for Snaffle, bite-sized payments. The subs are Macomb and Sarong for the Dogs and the Hawks respectively. Kick across the 50 from the Western Bulldogs out towards Norton. It's fallen between him and Granger Barras and then rolls over the line for a throw. Around the grounds for Kangan Institute, 1-3 TAFE. We are within 5 minutes of the opening bounce between Carlton and Collingwood at the MCG. And St Kilda and Sydney will follow us here on AFL Nation for the final game of the home and away season. It's with Lynch at the moment for the Hawks at right half back, throws it onto the boot, gets a few metres up the wing, but it will come back off the boot of Cordy. High ball inside 50, Granger Barras had front position on Norton, and he's done well in that one-on-one all day today. Granger Barras takes the mark, and the Hawks are at full-back.
So they bring it towards half-back, but it's a dangerous kick here. The Dogs are hovering. Scrimshaw's got some work to do, and then that was an absolute hospital passed along, threw him under the bus, taken by Bruce, and that isn't going anywhere. The umpire will ball it up 40 metres around from the Western Bulldogs goal. So this is their chance to capitalise. They've had a fair bit of it in their forward 50.
Just a pause in the game, waiting for Josh Bruce to do up his left shoelace. Kind of the umpire.
Local crowd didn't like that. Fell to Newcombe from the ruck. Newcombe dodging, leaving, did well. Broke clear onto the left boot. Kicks it down the wing. No mark taken. Richards grabs it. Bruce makes sure he wanders over the boundary line. It'll be thrown in.
You mentioned Granger Barras holding up well with the Norton matchup. Looks even better when you consider they've had 63 inside 50s in 3 quarters of footy, thereabouts, the Dogs.
So English goes the double fister, and then Dunkley ripped off the football. No free kick, came out to Lynch. Lynch dodges and then kicks a centering ball. It's dangerous. Hunter takes the mark for the Bulldogs, so they can load up from the middle.
I don't know that Ruckman are meant to take that kick. There should be a height limit on kicks like that.
So they go backwards momentarily to Duray, who ambles out towards centre wing, kicks it down the line, and Bruce takes the mark on his chest. Outer wing for the Doggies.
Entering their front half here, the Dogs. Bruce will kick backwards first to Daniel. Defensive side of the wing, outer side. He'll manoeuvre his run around towards the boundary and then kick with the line up towards Dunkley, who's taken another mark. He's about 75 from home. Daniel's run on to his outside. Delivers inside 50 now. Looking for Norton, who again is beaten by Granger Barras in the one-on-one. Falls out the back though. Rourke Smith dribbles at home. He's got his second, and that was very neat from Rourke Smith. running into the left forward pocket, dropped it onto the boot, had to thread it through on the tightest of angles, and it rolled around the goalpost and in. And the Dogs extend their lead back to 10 points. 10-2-62 Hawthorn. So the Dogs 10-12-72. He kicked it basically right in front of the left behind post and got it across the goal face for a goal of the game contender. Thanks to Host Plus, that's a plus.
Granger Barras, as you called, didn't do a lot wrong. Little fumble from Scrimshaw with the ball that came front and centre from Denver's spoil. And that was enough to open the door for Rourke Smith with the little dribble kick, classy finish.
2 goals, 16 touches for Smith back in the middle. English tried to slap it forward, fell to Bailey Smith, who just, in the end, goes the soccer kick. And the ball trundles towards the boundary line. Picked up by Howe for Hawthorn. Then just pops it up into the air and taken by Nash. His 50th game for the Hawks today. So Nash, the ball in the left arm. Kicks it long and strong inside 50. No mark taken. Fell to Mitchell. Disposed of the football. Got it towards Long, but then was immediately dispossessed by Dunkley, who dumps it outside 50. Williams tried to paddle it to Ugle-Hagan. Ugle-Hagan trying to fashion something. Waitman coming through. Little touch towards Smith. It's a hot football at the moment. Plenty of pressure from the Hawks, and the ball goes out. Just watching a replay with Vandermeer coming in hard against the debutant in Long. A baptism of fire for the young man, the 19-year-old for Hawthorn, as the opening bounce takes place at the MCG for Kangan Institute 1-3 TAFE.
The Dogs have it on the near wing. Bailey Smith hands off backwards. English gets underneath it, casts it high to the wing. Waitman crashes in hard on Nash. Sicily picks up the loose footy and centres the kick to centre half forward. Saunders coming from a long way back, competes well against Richards. Ball spills and bounces through to Hunter, who's taken by Gunston. And Gunston's given away a free kick. So Hunter, it'll be his at centre half back. He'll chip it short to his left for Richards. Guides it down the line. It's with Dunkley on the outer side. Gets onto his right foot and heaves it up towards half forward. Bontempelli's underneath it. Darcy approached late. Falls to Mitchell front and centre. Sicily's been busy. Blank. Now it's Ward, who will centre it to Moore. Remarks, swivels, plays on immediately. Gives it over to Howe. Moore continues to run through centre half back. Howe ignores him. Makes up a few metres of his own, then dishes out to his lefts. Day with an awkward wobbly kick off the side of the boot, and that's gone out of bounds on the full.
Might be better off talking about the drop punts we see with the way this game's been going. Looks like a very tricky day down at Launceston to kick the ball well. We're seeing lots of wobblers.
Just took a bounce in, so it'll be a boundary throw in on the near wing.
So Newcombe goes charging through the pack. Over the top of him is Smith, and in the back Newcombe gets the free kick. Almost on the AFL logo, the near side. So Newcombe goes long, very long. Bulldogs have the numbers. And in the end, Gardner goes the fist over and out about 5 metres around from the Hawks' goal. So they really need to make something of this. 13:39 left on the clock. The Dogs lead by 10. Throw in. It's Lynch doing the ruck work. Moves his way to the front. Fell to Dale, who then just round the body dumps it outside 50 over the head of Ugle-Hagan. Coming through was Scrimshaw. Handball Mitchell tried to check side it and only went up in the air about 10 metres, but it was long enough for O'Meara to take the mark. Just on the edge of the centre square, found Sicily in the middle of the ground, slipped over as he kicked it, but it's going to be marked by Moore anyway. So Moore, who's lifted in this final term, he's kicked 2. And he can go back from 48 metres out, slide angle to keep the Hawks in it.
Well done, O'Meara. That nothing kick that kind of bobbed up in the air in a sea of dogs as Moore plays on.
So Moore plays on to give himself momentum. It's a barrel, it's good, but he hits the post. Bulldogs 10-12-72, Hawthorn 10-3-63. Tough end to kick goals at the left of your radio dial. Breezy conditions. It's a 9-point ball game as Bailey Dale leaves the square and dumps it outside 50.
Ugelhagen went through the air competing, couldn't take it. Scrimshaw scoops it up, delivers back inside 50. It'll drop into the breadbasket of Gardner. Takes the mark, right back pocket. Kicks across the face of goal to Cordy. Into the opposite pocket. Half volleys on the way through to Richards. Through manoeuvres nicely around Saunders. Gets it down the line. Hunter. And shoulder to shoulder with Hardwick and claim the mark on the boundary line.
Well done, Richards. Ball fell at his feet. Kick missed. And he just gathered it cleanly and then had the composure to burst away.
Hunter drives it down to half forward. Ugelhagen brings it down to Liberatore, then Norton back to Liberatore. Now McRae just gets a handball away under the auspices of Hardwick, who laid the tackle. The Hawks get the footy back, however. Howe fires a handball infield to Moore, flicks it out the back to O'Meara. The Hawks working in tight spaces. McGuinness finds a bit of space and Howe kept on running to the near wing. Chips it over the top. McDonald's runs on, takes the mark at high left half forward. The Hawks are about 80 metres out. Will come infield first to O'Meara. Now drives it down the middle to the top of the goal square. In the hot spot inside 50. McAvoy fails to take the mark. Trelaw hands over to Duray, and the Dogs are out here at left half back.
Dunkley's got it at left half back. So Dunkley spots a man further up the field. It's Bontempelli. Bontempelli with that strong left boot finds Norton running for him. 45 metres out. Can he drill it? He's missed it by a long, long way and kicks it out of bounds on the full. 9-point ball game. Should we talk mathematics at the moment here, Geordie? So Carlton with 48 premiership points along with the Western Bulldogs at the moment. They're 0.3 in front on percentage, Carlton.
So even if the Dogs, if they win this game, even if it's not by enough to overtake Carlton, if Collingwood win by enough, even if they win by about a goal and a half or 2 goals,
it'll dent their percentage.
It'll still hurt Carlton's percentage enough that the Blues will drop below the Dogs. So the Dogs will want to win by a certain margin, but even if they don't get that margin, Collingwood could do the job for them with even a slim win at the MCG.
Chances are it'll be a less than 6-point win, though, even if Collingwood win it.
That is true, yeah.
On recent form.
Yes.
They don't like winning by too much.
What a fantastic conclusion to the season. We haven't even got to finals time yet. It's fantastic.
It's been unbelievable.
Ideally, by the end of this game, the Dogs want to be above Carlton on percentage. They'll go to full forward here, the Dogs, and they might try and do that now. The delivery to full forward is marked on the chest by Hunter. Top of the goal square. And this will be to extend the margin to 15 points, which will be the highest that the Dogs would have led in this match. Hunter flicks the ball in his hands a couple of times, steps in from 15 metres out, left foot kick, no problem. Lockie Hunter scores a critical goal for the Western Bulldogs. He extends their lead out to 15 points and it puts them in 8th position on the ladder on percentage.
But Myercheck, about to kick Collingwood's second goal, could do enough damage to Carlton's. He's missed. But 1 goal to 8 to 1 behind at the MCG. Collingwood leading by 7 points around the grounds.
And it would be decided by hundredths as well. Actually, that behind has put Carlton's percentage down to 108.3, so the Dogs have a 0.1 lead. This is how
split screens are working overtime.
This is how fine we're working.
As are our brains.
Yes, the Dogs up by 15 points here at Launceston.
So 11-12-78, Hawthorn 10-3, 63, 9:43 left on the Icon Services Solutions That Matter clock back in the middle. Bruce only won it down to Mitchell and then O'Meara. O'Meara for the Hawks, kicks it to the edge of the centre square. It's taken by Moore, who spotted Gunston. Couldn't quite half volley at Gunston. And then came back to Nash. Handball Gunston, handball Moore. Moore darts the kick towards centre half forward. Found Morrison, went the required distance just. And then he tried to spot a man. And it was chopped off by Richards for the Bulldogs. So they go wide to Dale. And Dale can send it long outside 50. He was looking for Norton. Cut off by Hardwick. They're still coming, the Hawks. Hardwick goes in short. Finds Newcomb, pops it up in the air. Too hot for McGuinness, but he was able to crumb it anyway. And then throws it on the boot and misses to the right. Did Gunston keep it in? No. Yes, he did. He did keep it in.
And then we might see a score review here.
I think we might. We might see a score review here for Roofing and Sheet Metal Centre. So Gunston's tried to claw it with his left hand. It's landed over the goal line, surely.
The whole ball has to be over. It kind of landed on its point, so as long as the whole ball was over the line, this will be a behind.
So a score review for Roofing and Sheet Metal Centre. Everything sheet metal from the roof down.
Josh Bruce thought it was a behind, but then as the doubt crept on, he almost looked to go for the try.
And it's really not a great camera angle either we're looking at.
Well, we're looking at the wrong part of the play. We need to see about 3 seconds before when the ball bounced over. We're looking at the wrong bit. They're reviewing the Josh Bruce try rather than when the initial ball came in.
Well, as you thought, Daisy, it's a behind. So Bulldogs 11-12-78. That was about 45 seconds of your life you'll never get back. And
well,
the Hawks 10-4-64.
They looked at the wrong piece of vision. So if it does come down to 0.1 tenths, I don't even know what point of percentage that we're talking about, but that point could be costly.
Hawthorn 10-4-64. The Dogs 11-12-78. For Icon Services, solutions that matter. The Dogs in the 8 for now by 0.1%. It's on the wing on the outer side. Newcombe foraging after it, slips out of the hands of McGuinness, recovers, flings it backwards to Long, slams it onto the boot, up towards right half forward. Lynch was beaten by Gardner from behind. It's knocked out to Hunter, now to Treloar on the wing, keeps it low. Half volleys it up the wing for Dunkley. Vandermeer, Smith flying past. Bailey Smith rides the wing, delivers inside 50 onto the chest of Waitman. Waitman marks at centre half forwards. He looked to go quickly. He saw Walk Smith in a bit of space, but Waitman will decide to go back himself and do it all by his lonesome. Cody Waitman's been hovering around forward 50, causing havoc, but only has one goal to his name for the day. Every goal here for the Western Bulldogs critical in the race for the finals. Waitman from straight in front. Gets to the paint of 50 now. Hits it from 49. Got underneath it. Mishit it. Floats out to the right. And it's rushed through by Ben McAvoy for a minor score. The Dogs back out to 15 points. Around the grounds for Kangan Institute. 1-3 TAFE. Carlton 1 behind. Collingwood 1-4-10. A 9-point lead for the Pies.
So Hardwick in the back line for the Hawks. They leave the defensive 50 now to Morrison, who goes with a short ball to McDonald. McDonald at left half back goes inboard to Sicily. And then Sicily, they're going to go around the horseshoe here to Scrimshaw, around the back line. So either way, it's 1-4-10 Collingwood, 2 behind Carlton at the moment for Kangan Institute, as O'Meara has the ball just short of right half forward for Hawthorn.
Charlie Cherno just coughed up what would have been a certain goal. Murphy went to ground. He tried to hack kick it out of the air instead of taking possession and just putting it through and missed.
Good kick, finds Moore outside 50. Be a pretty tough kick from here. Gunston leads, ignores that, pops it up to the hot spot. No mark, Newcombe. Reading it better was Bruce, and Bruce takes the mark inside defensive 50 for the Dogs.
So Bruce has gone behind the ball here just to shore things up for the Dogs.
And then a really bad kick puts his teammate McRae under pressure, snaffled by Moore. Handball, Gunston round the body to the hot spot, top of the square, Dogs everywhere. Handball, found Daniel, and then Vandermeer. Vandermeer just in a bit of a tight situation here, but gets out of it and then pops it down the line. That was good work from the Dogs, as Waitman was under all sorts of pressure as well. Ball ricochets, comes to Hardwick, and the Hawks can reload near side wing.
Granger Barras applying the pressure to Waitman. He's been good, Granger Barras, this afternoon. The Hawks look to go forward again. Richards folding back, got a hand up, brings it down. Nash for the Hawks, feeds it forward and helps Bruce win a free kick. Scuffs a kick inside 50, Bruce, but it works out well for Gunston, who almost lost his feet. He straightens up, pops it into the hot spot. Treloar gets back and takes the mark. Tempo just lifting a little bit now in the last quarter as we enter time on the clock for Makita, rule the outdoors.
Dogs have parked the bus. Lots of midfielders just pushing back to fill space. Bruce behind the ball.
Working in red time here. Dale. Pinpoint kick to find Daniel, who was standing on the boundary line. Kicks down the line for Darcy, who's just come off the bench. Gets underneath it. Torps a kick towards right half forward. Waitman was clattered by Granger Barras. And we'll get a free kick at right half forward.
Granger Barras and Waitman both thought it was theirs. The free kick there. It was a good contest. But Waitman coming out to it and Granger Barras going back with the flight. I think he's been done for front-on contact.
Waitman to the top of the goal square. Darcy's underneath it. The kick's too heavy for him. Goes out the back. Scrimshaw. Darcy on hands and knees. Handballs backwards. Bruce is in the forward 50 again for the Dogs. The Hawks have the numbers. Day to Howe. Punches a kick out of 50. Bounce on the boundary line. Daniel's tracking after it. The Hawks only have a few battlers out there. The Dogs have more. And they lock it up. And it will be a ball up just outside the 50, a few steps in from the boundary line.
Did really well then, the Hawks. 1v3 initially, Dogs with 2 extra numbers. Dunstan got there late.
And at the moment, the Dogs have nudged past Carlton on percentage as well. So Treloar up against the boundary line, taken heavily, got a little kick away, but it spills to Daniel. Daniel finds Waitman right up against the boundary line. He's about 52 metres out. Right of your radio dial, spots a man looking for Norton. Too hot for him. Smith behind. He's taken in a tackle by Scrimshaw. Did he drop the football? Howe is just absolutely appealing to the umpire, almost pleading to him, but nothing doing. Right forward pocket for the Bulldogs. Howe gets his way out of trouble. Kick up and under. Smith, that's Rourke Smith. Couldn't take the mark, but was he taken high? The umpire said yes. So Rourke Smith can go back and look for his third. He's copped one right in the right eye.
He's been good, Rourke Smith. With Bailey Smith being well held by McGuinness and Newcomb spending quite a bit of time on Bontempelli.
It was McAvoy that the free kick was against.
He's bobbed up as that hard running high half forward for the Dogs, 18 touches and the 2 goals, shooting for 3.
So, Rourke Smith, 48 metres out. This would be a real sealer. Onto the left. It's looking good for the Dogs. They're happy. That's the icing on the cake with 3:11 left on the clock. It's the Bulldogs. 12-13-85. Hawthorn 10-4-64 with the red, white and blue army yelling at the television, and they're just saying percentage. Pile it on. They are now clearly 8th on 108.8.
Interesting to see what their mentality is from this centre bounce. Are they happy with this lead and buffer? Or do they just go all-out attack at the risk of bleeding a few goals?
So the Dogs will crucially get those 4 points. And then it's down to what happens at the MCG. That game is halfway through the first term. The Blues 2 behinds. Collingwood 1-4-10. From the centre bounce here, Newcomb gets his hands to the footy first. The Dogs are swarming him and he's forced the turnover. Treloar gets it now for the Western Bulldogs. Spreads it to the outer side. Takes a few bounces in front of Hunter, who collects. Whips it around the body, centres it to centre half forward, and Bontempelli juggles the mark.
And runs back to his mark. He wants to send this one through and leave enough time for another one.
Yep, no doubt about that. There was an element of urgency, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Tough kick still.
The win is theirs. Now just pile it on. Bontempelli past the 50. Starts it out to the right. It's coming back with the wind. And it drops on the line into the posts. A minus score for Marcus Bontempelli. Hawthorn 10-4-64. The Western Bulldogs 12-14-86 in this last quarter for Icon Services. Solutions that matter.
McComb on the ground. Vandermeer's come off. So in the final 2.5 minutes, that midi sub has been activated. So That's thanks to Snaffle Bite-Sized Payments win our boundary update. So Hunter has the ball on the outer wing. 2 kicks from home. Onto the left he goes to the hot spot, and Norton had his name written all over it. Lace out, takes the mark. And from 25 metres out, this is probably easy pickings for him.
Any other day, I'd agree with you. I'm not prepared to write it down, though, just yet. But good timing, launched at the footy.
He's kicked 3. The Dogs lead by 22. Aaron Norton with purpose comes in, stabs at it, and you're spot on, Daisy. He misses it to the left. What a tricky day it's been in the goal-kicking department in Launceston. 12:15:87, the Dogs 10:4:64. Hawthorn 1:28 left on the clock as Day brings it back into play.
Not a good day to be trying to bank percentage, that's for sure. 12 goals, 15.
Even though he's scored 3 goals, Aaron Norton, it feels like opportunities have been hard to come by. He's getting near the footy, but just hasn't had enough break his way. Daniel is being harassed by Josh Ward. The Hawks have done well to push it all the way to half forward. Bruce is there. His handball's been partially smothered. Ward collects it. His kick smothered as well. Bailey Smith dives over the footy. Connor McDonald rolls it forward to the 50 for the Hawks. The Dogs players all folding back. Hawks trying to match the numbers. Newcomb fakes the handball, arches the back, gets away from one. Loops a handball towards Howe. It's too heavy. Rourke Smith is there, dives across the footy. McAvoy is foraging away with Josh Bruce at ground level. And it'll be a ball up inside 50. Inside Hawthorn's forward 50. 64 plays 87. English tips it down. McRae onto Williams, onto Daniel. The Dogs can clear it out of the back half. Daniel's kick finds open space at left half back. Ward leads the race, beats Hunter, hands off to Morrison. Flings it onto the boot, skies it inside 50. Sicily's up there for the Hawks. And he's infringed on Sam Darcy for contact from behind. And the Dogs can steady the ship now at left half back.
So 15 seconds left. It's 12:15:87, the Bulldogs. The Hawks 10:4:64. Pack forms, off hands English. Then a short ball to Hunter, who just swings round the corner towards Scrimshaw, and the siren's going to sound with the ball in the hands of Daniel Howe at the end. So the Dogs have got it done. The Dogs have got it done. 12:15:87. Hawthorn 10:4:64. And now the nervous wait begins. So Marcus Bontempelli and Adam Treloar, they shake hands. It was a 3-goal match for Aaron Norton and Rourke Smith. Waitman with 1, Sam Darcy with 2. Lockie Hunter 1, Marcus Bontempelli 1, Adam Treloar 1. And they're in the top 8 with now it all depending on what's going on at the Coliseum, the MCG, Geordie. What a finale to the premiership season.
Absolutely. The Dogs, they played their part. They did their job. And it's set up nicely. It would have been a bit of an anticlimax, wouldn't it, if the Dogs had lost? Because that game at the MCG wouldn't have meant as much. But the Dogs have won, so it's all down to the Blues now to see what they can do against the Pies. The Pies have had some opportunities as well. 1-5-11 in this first quarter, Collingwood's. But the Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn led by 12 points at quarter time. The Dogs overtook them at half time to lead by 3 points. Led by 10 at 3-quarter time, the Western Bulldogs, and finished with a game high margin of 23-point winners. And so they're in the 8 for now. I've got the ladder in front of me. 108.9, I think, and Carlton currently 108.2. Roughly speaking. The major goal scorers for the Western Bulldogs, Aaron Norton scored 3, Rourke Smith scored 3, Sam Darcy scored 2. For the Hawks, Jack Gunston was the leading goal scorer across the ground with 4 goals. Dylan Moore had 2, Ben McAvoy had 2. And the major possession getters, Sicily 33, Dunkley 29, Hardwick 26.
And for Kangan Institute, 1-3 TAFE round the grounds at the MCG. Jack Crisp has just slotted 1, so it's 2-5-17 Collingwood. 3 behind Carlton with 4:14 left to play in the first term there at the G. So at Launceston, the game we've been concentrating on today, Western Bulldogs 12:15:87, Hawthorn 10:4:64. And before we get into our post-game show for Coates, Daisy Pearce, what have you made of the match today? What are your initial thoughts?
Well, the Dogs did what they had to do, their part in keeping their finals hopes alive, and now they go and have a shower and see whether there is a next week. Sit back and watch the Carlton game, probably in the Virgin Lounge at the airport, and work out if they're going home to Mad Monday or whether they're going home to ice up and play another week. It's a strange dynamic at this time of the year for those teams on the fringe, but they did their job. I'm still a little bit unconvinced. I think it was a bit concerning, the amount of inside 50s they had today, and that the door was still ajar right up until the end of the game. And quickly said they ended up with 71 inside 50s for only 30 shots. Inaccurate in front of goal, partly because of the amount of numbers and pressure Hawthorn were able to get back there, but I think the biggest thing was how easily Hawthorn could move the ball end to end at times. Defensively, the Dogs haven't looked like a team that are going to win and do damage in finals over the last little while, just given that they haven't been able to rein in opposition ball movement, and it was there again today. The Hawks took a lot of uncontested marks and moved the footy end to end a number of times. They were good out of clearance, out of the middle of the ground, as they always are, dominated clearances, but there's still just holes in their game that I don't think are going to trouble the best sides come September. And for the Hawks, I think they were really competitive again today, and whilst they didn't get the result, I think you walk away pretty positive about what the future might hold. Denver Granger Barras was really good down back. Ward, 24 disposals. Will Day looked composed and cool and like he's going to be a good player off half-back for a long time for this footy club. Gunston and Sicily, players that didn't play any footy at all last year for the Hawks through injury, have gotten through and were probably the Hawks' best players today. It's to be seen whether Jack Gunston is wearing Hawthorn colours next year. He's another one who has question marks over him as to whether he'll go elsewhere. But there's plenty of positives for the Hawks, and I think they're rebuilding really nicely. Sam Mitchell's first season as coach, for where they're at, you'd call a successful one.
So we'll be with you for the next 14 minutes or so, and then don't forget that we'll be heading to Marvel for the Saints and Swans, and you can also catch Carlton Collingwood, that game on the SEN app with Gerard Waitley, Andy Marr, Brendan Sanderson and also Kane Corns. So a bit to take in. We were watching two matches at once there at one point, Daisy. It's been a very entertaining afternoon.
Hard not to let your eyes drift over to the Carlton-Collingwood game. Looks like the ball's living in Collingwood's forward half, and Jack Ginnivan's just broken through for their third goal. So 3-5-23 to 3 behind Carlton. Looking a bit dangerous for Blues supporters.
Yeah, a potentially goalless first quarter, 2 minutes to go in the first term, and that's not the way the Blues would want to start the game at all. I mean, you can only be down by, 2 or 3 goals at quarter time, but if you just don't have one goal to your name, it just feels like a big mountain to climb.
Yeah, it's not so much the margin, but it looks like they're struggling to create opportunities and get it in there.
Yeah.
And
kind of been penned into the back Collingwood's forward 50.
And here in Launceston, a guard of honour from both the Bulldogs and also the Hawthorn Football Club for Ben McAvoy, an emotional moment. His 252nd and final game. He's about to be chaired off by Connor Nash and Jaeger O'Meara. A job well done. Not the result he was hoping for today. But great sportsmanship from both clubs with that guard of honour for Ben McAvoy.
Good leader, and he's been the captain for Sam Mitchell's first season as coach, and now a new captain on the way next season for Hawthorn as well. So there'll be that decision to be made in the post-season, but a great career for Ben McAvoy across 2 clubs with St Kilda and Hawthorn.
2 premierships with the Hawks as well, 250 games, and a really good person around the footy club by all reports. Been a terrific leader for a long time.
So we might as well get into our post-game show for Coates. We're more than high. We're equipped for anything. And just recapping the final score for Need Victoria Police, but not the Sirens. Call the police assistance line 131 at 444. It was the Bulldogs 12-15-87, Hawthorn 10-4-64. Luke Beveridge, he's a man on a mission, isn't he? Daisy, he hasn't really been able to crack a smile in the last 5 to 10 minutes. He's...
I thought you were going to say weeks then.
Well, there's a possibility of that, but I wasn't going to go that far. But he knows that there could be a big job to do next week.
Yeah, I think that overall probably been a bit stop-start this season and wouldn't go in with maybe the confidence and momentum that they have in past final series, but we can never write them off completely, the Bulldogs.
So as the doggies leave the ground, let's get into our awards, the MEGT Rookie of the Day. Your career, your business, their job, Daisy.
Well, I think it was Sam Darcy overall, his ability to go forward when the Dogs needed a spark. He'd been pretty imposing across half-back for the first part of the game, but then Luke Beveridge saw the need for a target up forward and he provided that. And the game seemed to be slipping away from the Dogs. He was able to clunk a couple of marks, kick 2 goals in a row in that second quarter, just showing his versatility and natural football ability by being able to play at both ends of the ground. But for a big job like that to be handed your way, maybe unexpectedly, and for him to be able to have the impact he did, I thought it was a pretty good performance. Josh Ward, an honourable mention for the Hawks as well. I think he's eligible, is he not?
Yes, yeah, as a
first year,
but third game for Sam Darcy. We know he had huge raps. He was a number 2 draft pick, and he was spoken about all last season. So this prodigious talent, the fact that he's got that isn't new to us, but just seeing it play out at the level, even just 3 games, there's a lot to be excited about for the Dogs. They've needed a key defender for a while, an imposing tall key defender, and he might be that, or he can go forward and be another forward for them as well. But as far as what we've seen from him in the back half, that's extremely promising signs for Dogs and Dogs fans.
All right, hanger of the day, hangmytv.com.au, because that's what they do. Well, Days, it wasn't really a day conducive to hangers, was it, with the wind? But we did find a couple.
Yes, I think for the accumulation of a number of very good marks, I've given it to Josh Dunkley. He took one really good one in particular. Ball was skied, sat in the air for a long time, so it took great courage for him to sit under it, and then had to contend with a couple of opponents, but brought the mark down and had a terrific game, Josh Dunkley, and that was the hanger of the day.
Tackler of the game for Toro. Count on Toro to get the job done.
Well, I went with tackle of the day, and I gave it to Ned Long, one of Hawthorn's debutants. Marcus Bontempelli had pounced on the spillage from centre bounce, and it looked like what was going to be another centre bounce clearance to the Dogs, but Ned Long made a really smart decision to leave his opponent on the wing and come in and was able to stop Bontempelli in his tracks and prevent what might have been a goal.
The coaching move of the day for TC Boxes, home for trays, canopies and toolboxes.
I think it was Sam Darcy to go forward, like we spoke about when we were talking about the rookie of the day. But, so Sam Darcy forward. Whether it was in Beveridge's planning as he came into this one, the opportunity to maybe exploit a smallish Hawthorn defence, or whether it was due to the conditions and just wanting to simplify the way that the Bulldogs were entering forward 50 to give them a bit of a beacon to kick at. Either way, it was a good move and it had an immediate impact.
I think it probably made sense that they could let him out of the defence because Hawthorn didn't have that many key forwards. It's just Gunston up there as a marking target.
No real match-up for him.
Yeah, and then McAvoy would float up there here and there. But, yeah, there was no real match-up for Darcy, so you could take that liberty of taking him out of the back line and putting him in the forward line.
Goal of the game for Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. Are you going to go for the zany goal that Jack Gunston kicked in that second quarter? He kicked a couple of nice ones around the body too. 4
goals from Gunston today. Gee, he's a smart player. When Hawthorn were able to move the ball well, he was able to really manipulate his defender and find space. But, yeah, I think it was his 3rd goal, Jack Gunston. he just read the wind perfectly. It was when it was probably at its peak, the Launceston wind, but started at about 2 metres to the left of the left goalpost and just snuck it in on the right-hand side. So he was one of few players that could get his head around the conditions out there today.
The unmissable moment for Drink Wise. Choose to drink wise. You won't miss a moment if you drink wise.
Well, Bontempelli always provides unmissable moments, but I thought his ability just to burst through a tackle, it was when the Dogs had kicked, I think, 8 behinds to start that third quarter. It was about 8. There was a lot of behinds. They'd been peppering the goals. The only goal to the term so far had been to Jack Gunston at the other end, despite the Dogs' dominance. And he just attacked the footy, shook off about 2 tackles and set up a goal for Norton. And then from there out, the Dogs never really looked like losing.
So the votes, the 3-2-1 for AFL Nation's Player of the Year, thanks to Henley Holmes. Henley completed homes now selling in Mickleham and Tarneet, henley.com.au. Not the easiest of assignments today.
No, it was tricky. It was probably an even performance for Bulldogs players. I gave 1 to James Sicily for the Hawks, though, down back.
Yep.
I had to weather an absolute storm all day, defending 71 inside 50s. And he competed really well, brought the ball to ground, had a huge number of intercept possessions and was able to set up Hawthorn's offence, and part of the reason why they were able to bounce out of there at times and score. So Sicily, 1 vote. 2 votes. This is where it gets tricky because you could have raffled a number of Bulldogs players, but I think I'll land 2 to Marcus Bontempelli. Finished with 10 score involvements, 7 clearances, laid tackles, 5 inside 50 tackles. So did a bit of everything, Bontempelli. Kicked a goal, 1 goal, 2. Could have maybe done a bit more damage, but just a terrific game from him. And 3 I ended up giving to Josh Dunkley. 29 disposals, 17 contested, 8 clearances, 10 score involvements and 9 tackles. So a balanced game from him.
If Dunkley gets the best on grounds, where will his career take him next season, I wonder?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, we were talking about the same thing about this time, not quite yet, but because they were still had bigger fish to fry, but looked to move clubs, couldn't get the trade done to Essendon, and now rumours of ties to Port Adelaide. I think his partner plays netball over in South Australia.
Yes.
Which might be part of the motivation to get over there, but I think he's pretty honest about the fact that he sees himself as a midfielder, and he's, again, had to spend big portions of the year as a forward. He's done a pretty good job playing out of the square at times, Josh Dunkley, for the Dogs this year, but I think he believes his best footy's in the middle of the ground. There's so much depth for the Dogs in that area.
Hawthorn, just a quick word on them now at the end of their season. So they've completed the year with 8 wins and 14 losses. They'll finish in 3rd. We'll do a ladder update in a moment for 40 winks. But for Sam Mitchell, his first season in charge, there's been a lot worse first seasons for a coach. 8 wins is a pretty decent number, and they'll get a solid draft pick from that. Pick 6 or 7 it'll be for them. But a great foundation to build off here for Sam Mitchell.
Yeah, I think it's been a successful first season, given where the Hawks are at. 8 wins, but included in those 8 are wins against Geelong and Brisbane, and also Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, which is no mean feat. So they've been able to hold their own in some really big games against quality opposition. I like the way he's gone about it, Sam Mitchell. He's freed them up and encouraged them to play to their strengths and play with flair. He hasn't kind of chased wins at the expense of their overall development, which, as he's talking to the playing group now, I think that's been impressive from Mitchell, particularly when you think that he took over the reins from one of the greatest coaches of all time. There could have been an element of pressure attached to that would see you kind of coaching in a way to have a short-term fix and chase an odd win here and there, but given his time spent at Box Hill and his connection with the younger Hawthorn players, he's really put time into them. They've debuted 8 players now today when you add Ned Long and Jack Saunders to the list from today, and Jai Newcomb's developing really well. Mitch Lewis had his best season, although he wasn't out there today with injury. CJ Jath, another one that's promising. Josh Ward and Finn McGuinness again today. Dylan Moore gets better and better the more you watch him. So I think there's a lot of positivity from this season for Hawthorn. And they're really clear and aware of where they're at, which is a healthy thing as well.
And then the Western Bulldogs, so whether they make finals or not this season, so from being grand finalists last year to where they are now is scraping into the 8, and they might not even make finals depending on how the game today goes at the G. But their season overall, they played good in parts, their good looked good, but hasn't been all consistent at all for the Dogs this season.
No, a very stuttery kind of season where they've shown patches of why they made a grand final last year, but then other periods where they've struggled. Dominated from the middle of the ground all year. Their depth in the middle is as good as it gets in the competition, but it seems like they've added support for Norton. That was one question mark at the start of the year, whether they needed another target, but I think with Ugle-Hagan coming on like he has in the back half of the season, a couple of breakout games where you start to be able to believe in what he might be able to be moving forward, and Josh Bruce coming back and being able to play consistently, although he was out last week. I think that's been positive for their front end. Down back, they need to find someone else, don't they? I think they need another really solid key defender. Sam Darcy may become that in time, but I think that would probably be something they target in the off-season.
All right, so the Doggies, they've got the job done to add to the theatre of the afternoon, Geordie, as we have a very quick look at what the ladder says.
The Dogs are in 8th position right now, 108.9%, and the Blues sitting just beneath them on 108.2 or 3 at the moment on the rough live ladder, but the Dogs are in the 8 for now. And it's down to the Blues to see whether they can usurp them or not.
So don't forget, we'll be taking calls all weekend for Star 21. Discover the difference. That's been the post-game show for Coates. We're more than higher. We're equipped for anything, and we're about to take off to Marvel Stadium for the Saints and the Swans. And don't forget Carlton and Collingwood on the SEN app as well. So we are going to... We're going to continue on here in Launceston just for a few moments' time, because we'll get the team ready there at Marvel Stadium for Saints and Swans. Big game for the Swannies.
Just on the Dogs, we're just talking then, sort of looking at more big picture, but I guess for a lot of Dogs fans, there'd be hope still for this season as well, given that at this rate, it could be likely that they go on to play finals, and given their history of being able to come from a long way back and outside the 4 to play in and win grand finals, there'd be some well-earned hope, you'd think, around the Bulldogs in their camp.
Well, many would think if they can do it from 7th, they can do it from 8th, but are they the same team?
Yeah, it's a different team, and I think the competition within the top 8 is probably as deep as it's ever been this season as well, so there are going to be no easy games at any stage in the final series, but I don't see them going deep into finals this season, given the way that they're defending at the moment.
Okay, so don't forget we've got the Saints and Swans. So if the Swans happen to get over the top of St Kilda by over 54 points, that would put them hovering around the top 2, which would be important for them. So there's a little bit at stake in that St Kilda and Sydney match as well. And one more update from the MCG. Don't forget you can listen to that game with Gerard Whateley, Andy Marr, Brenton Sanderson and Kane Corns on the SEN app. There's 15 and a half minutes or thereabouts to go in the second term. And a score about to come through. It's the Pies 3-6-24, Carlton 1-3-9. So 3-6-24, 1-3-9, Collingwood over Carlton, thanks to Kangan 1-3 TAFE. Well, Daisy Pearce, it's been an absolute pleasure this afternoon.
And you, Matt. Good on you, George.
Thank you, Daisy. Good stuff.
Good on you, George.
Matt,
and, we can now go and enjoy the game at the MCG.
Who's your
Premier?
Melbourne.
Question without notice.
I think I do like Geelong's team. I think Geelong Sydney grand final.
Geelong Sydney.
Yeah, I think Melbourne just miss.
What about you?
I'll go Melbourne.
Yeah,
The
have to
brave
go
choice.
Melbourne. Yes, indeed.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that in front of you, Daisy.
No.
Thanks for joining us, and we're about to whip off to Marvel, but before we do that, the highlights of the match today between Hawthorn and the Western Bulldogs.
Dunkley collects it on the bounce, gives it over to Ugle-Hagan, dabs it inside 50, sees the one-on-one, Norton's there, beats blank, recovers, regathers, and shoots and scores from the goal square. Aaron Norton gets the opening goal of the game. Bontempelli at centre-half forward. Swings around, strikes a left-foot kick and gets the Dogs seconds. It spills out the back. Saunders is there. His first touch of the footy. Handballs inside to McAvoy. Ben McAvoy in his final game of football scores from the goal square.
Round the corner, 10 metres out, Gunston scores a level at UTAS. Ugly-looking mongrel punt that didn't make the distance, but Gunston's there. Snap round the body, Gunston kicks the goal.
Squared to centre-half back, Wards right down the middle to McAvoy. He's taken a good mark overhead. Onto McDonald. They've got numbers out the back here, the Hawks. McDonald finds more. Top of the goal square, converts. The Western Bulldogs get the centre clearance. Bailey Smith feeds it on to Adam Treloar, who lets launch from 50, and he scores. Bounces on the goal line and through, and the Dogs are back within a goal. Mitchell got it from Lynch, gives it back to the ruckman, goes inside 50. O'Meara feeds it over to Saunders. Here's a chance for his first goal in footy. He's got it.
Hunter swings onto the left boot. Inside forward 50. He goes to the hot spot. Darcy could have juggled it, and then Treloar throws it on the boot. It's wobbling towards goal. Smith picks it up and swings round the body and kicks it. Goal to Rourke Smith for the Western Bulldogs. Round the body he goes. Jack Gunston makes no mistake, and the Hawks are back in front.
Rourke Smith trundles a kick up inside forward 50. Waitman picks it up, offloads to Bontempelli, breaks a tackle, gives it over to Norton. From straight in front, Aaron Norton, there it is. And the Dogs can extend their leads out to a 10-point margin.
Rourke Smith, 48 metres out. This would be a real sealer onto the left. It's looking good for the Dogs. They're happy, and the siren's going to sound with the ball in the hands of Daniel Howe at the end. So the Dogs have got it done. The Dogs have got it done. 12-15-87. Hawthorn 10-4-64. And now the nervous wait begins.